I will give you a show like you have never, ever seen before. Why? Because I can.
This is Levi Cooper, and you're listening to the Sit Down Marks with DB, Primo, and AJ.
Episode number 28 of Sit Down Marks is brought to you by Coastland Apparel. Use promo code BIRDTV for 15% off your order. That's Coastland Apparel. Use promo code BIRDTV for 15% off. Welcome, everybody, to episode number 28. What's going on, Marks? How's everybody doing tonight here?
Very excited. Very excited, obviously.
Yeah, sounds like you are here. Well, let's jump right into this. If you missed the Levi Cooper interview from this past Monday, go download that right now, or you can wait till the end of this very podcast and check it out, our interview with Levi Cooper. If you don't know who Levi Cooper is, or if the name doesn't ring a bell,
shame on you.
Who is Levi Cooper, Primo?
Levi Cooper is an amazing human being who likes waffles over pancakes. However, he is formerly known as WWE superstar Tucker, also Tucker Knight, but mainly Tucker from Heavy Machinery.
And what an awesome guy he was. I could have spoken to him for another 5 hours.
And if you missed that interview, I don't know what you're doing with your life because it's been out for 2 days. Get on it.
Yeah, download it, listen to it. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, Google all the other ones.
All of them.
That's right.
All
Everything
of them.
I'm about to say here shortly. But, yeah, he goes over wrestling at Arizona State, his time at NXT, not wrestling on the independents before he went to NXT. He talks about Dusty Rhodes, which, had me
Dusty Rhodes
captivated.
stories.
That story, and he's also got a story that will make you die laughing, and make sure you check that out. And he also talks about how come we never seen the big blow off between Heavy Machinery, actually him and Otis. So go check that out. It's on its own separate pod. It's out now. Go check it out, or you can wait till the end of the pod and listen to it right here. So, but thank you, Levi, once again for being on the show, man. Had an absolute blast. You're right, man. This guy is a great human being. Love what he's doing, and we're going to see this guy in 2022. So just watch out here.
Yeah.
So
The
force of nature is coming.
Oh, I'm super excited. Like, I nerded out when he was talking about his new gimmick because I'm a big. Never mind. I'm not going to get into my book nerdery, but
Also, we don't want to spoil it because all of our listeners are going to go listen to it.
yes, obviously, go listen to it right now.
Let me introduce my panel here today. From the land of the rattlesnake, Mr. Team Extreme himself, editor and producer of the show. You better acknowledge this man. He's been the champ for quite a while now. What's going on, Primo?
Welcome, everybody.
Welcome
Episode
to the
number
Champs
28. 28 episodes in. How about it? 156 days as your champion.
Le champion Primo.
The reigning, defending, sit-down Marks pay-per-view champion.
Did you have to turn to read those two words on the side?
No,
right there?
but I was turning
need
to
like a
make
Ricardo Rodriguez now.
a dramatic pause.
Like
Somebody that can go.
Primo!
raining.
I'm half Puerto Rican and cannot roll my R's.
You
I
can't
just
really. You
learned
can't
not
trill
long
them?
ago, but I think if I had to do it on a daily basis, it would be hard for me. Let me introduce the host of the show, straight out of Yo Mama's kitchen. You know this guy. He's the only babyface left on the panel, assistant editor and producer of the show. Welcome, AJ.
Oh, hi, Mark.
I've been
Oh,
wanting
hi.
to do that for like 2.5 months now. So that
All
was
right.
the clip from The Room. Go watch the movie. It's horrible and amazing.
Educate
All right.
yourself.
Now that we got
Yes.
that off your list,
I
you should
do
be a
now.
happy
Now I
man.
can be a
You should
normal
be happy.
human when I introduce myself when I get introduced.
Intermuse.
Remember earlier when we were like, some people are having trouble talking, and I was like, it's me. I'm the one having. Yeah, just little reiteration there for you. Nope.
Let's talk about the show today. We're going to talk about the week in wrestling. The Dropkick Discussion today is our top 5 favorite Ridiculous Gimmicks. This one's going to be a fun one. I think we had a fun making this list here. And then we also got Promo School. I'm going to bring a little Rowdy Roddy Piper to you today. He's going to talk. This is from 1991. He's cutting a promo on Ric Flair, actually. So this is back in the old wrestling superstar days. Really cool clip that I found, as I'll talk about it later. It's from the old MSG superstar show. So we got that. Primo's going to debut a new show called Name That Theme, or what was the name of it again? I'm sorry.
Music Class.
Music Class. Darn it. That was it. Way better than Name That Theme. Music Class. All right, boys, let me talk to you real quick, man. It's been a big week for the pod, man. We got to interview Levi Cooper on Monday with former tag team partner of Otis in Heavy Machinery. You guys had a blast interviewing Trevor Outlaw last night, which is going to come out on next week's pod, man. Talk about Trevor real quick and what you guys talked about to get people ready for the podcast, other than him and AJ's banter, which I think is going to sell the pod on its own here. Two Chicago guys going at it. North side, south side.
He at one point he accused me of dropping his IQ, and I just hope that it has raised again after that happened. So I mean, that's all I can do is apologize. Like, sorry,
Yours rudely is the tagline. Trevor Outlaw. He's a Chicago guy on the indie pro wrestling scene. Primo, did he cut a promo on you guys or what? I can't wait to hear.
I think if you listen to all 40 minutes or however long it is, the entire thing is a promo being cut on us.
He cut the entire
from the beginning, from AJ screwing up the intro.
So, oh my God, I fucked up. That was the wrong time to screw up the intro.
Nice.
There's Trevor Outlaw just sitting there. I'm like,
so if you, it's must listen podcast entertainment for sure. Don't miss out next week when we air it.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. That'll be episode number 29 coming up next week, man. But, yeah, it's been fun, man. We got had some big interviews. We want to thank everybody that comes on the pod. Also, Bucky as well. Go check out Bucky's interview from a couple episodes ago. Bucky for everyone on Twitter. These guys are lighting up the indie scene right now, man, and just super fun, hilarious guys that we've all had a chance to talk to.
We've been so busy, but that wasn't that long ago. That was last Wednesday that we aired Bucky Collins.
Yeah, that was a week ago. It seems
so
like it was...
we've just been the Sit Down Marks podcast crew here. We have been killing it. We are on fire, and we are going to keep taking this podcast to the moon.
I don't know why I didn't join in on that.
That
little chant right there.
You're gonna stay on Earth.
I was trying to be humble.
Thanking everybody for downloading and subscribing all of our audio and episodes on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Podcasts, TuneIn Radio, Amazon Prime Music, Audible, SportzWire, online radios, Friday at 6:45. Primo, where can you get the Marks merch just like I'm wearing right now? Check out these fancy threads right here, baby.
That's right. AJ, look, that AJ's beautiful banana-colored shirt you're wearing and that great baseball tee that AJ has on. Both of them with the fantastic Sit Down Marks logo. It can be found at tpublic.com/stores/Sit Down Marks.
Look how good of a job they do, too. This is fucking awesome.
I know, man. These exact shirts, Big Beef's going to have them on when he hits the ring. His match just got announced for September 24th at St. Louis Anarchy. Me and AJ are going to be ringside with Adam. We're going to be there for this amazing card. By the way, next week we're going to break down that card of this is man. This might end up being the best card I've seen in a long time. We bought these tickets early, AJ. Remember?
Yeah, we did.
And they had just announced Makabe and Wyatt. Now, when I read this card to you next week, it's a very who's hot on the indie scene right now. So it's gonna be fun. So let's talk about our pod here today. Primo, let's kick it off, man. How about this day in wrestling history and birthdays?
Let me talk to you. Whose
game is it?
Primo's game, baby.
Right.
This day in wrestling history, September 15th. That's today for all you Marks listening. 1995. WCW fires Steve Austin.
No.
This led to him being hired by ECW. In case you've never heard of this guy, he was hired by ECW a week later, mostly just cutting promos because he happened to be injured at the time. And then later on, 3 months down the line in December of that same year, he was hired by some company called WWF.
Who?
And he eventually became one of the greatest superstars of all time. WCW, you screwed up.
The Ringmaster, Steve Austin. Yep, he was the greatest.
That's
Ringmaster.
right.
The Ringmaster.
He was quite the technician.
Yes, he was. Wow. Wow. I mean, that right there changed, shifted wrestling. I mean, we didn't know it at the time when it happened. I mean, I was a 20-year-old. I didn't look at that going, holy cow, they just signed Steve Austin. He's going to be maybe the greatest icon in wrestling.
Hey, isn't that stunning Steve Austin guy?
Yeah.
You think that, you're in this business. You think that you'd be able to recognize a once in a generation talent like Steve Austin and not be like, oh,
I mean, they say everything in wrestling's about timing, and the Stone Cold gimmick,
He had to completely get rid of the hair first.
He did, yes. So all of you hirsute people, hirsute. No, it's gonna be one of those days.
Words.
Come on.
Hirsute is old timey for Harry. AKA you, Primo. Just get rid of it. Get rid of it. You'll lead such a better life, and you'll get fired by your current company, but then turn into an icon in whatever profession you're in. Moral of the story is, if you have hair, get rid of it, and I won't be bitter towards you anymore.
I will never be getting rid of my beautiful locks. Thank you very much.
Well, I was lying. I'll still be bitter towards you anyways.
Same.
They hate us because they ain't us.
We do.
Moving forward.
We go faster in water.
Because you're more aerodynamic and slick.
Aerodynamic in water?
Yeah, well,
What is it? Hydrodynamic.
Yeah. 1997. WCW Nitro in Charlotte. Kurt,
I probably was there.
You
man.
might have been here because we might have talked about this last week. I have a feeling it may not have been this one though. Okay. 1997 WCW Nitro in Charlotte. Kurt Hennig defeats Steve McMichael to win the United States Championship. Was that the one where Rick wasn't there?
The evil one where you started hating Mr. Perfect?
I don't know if it was that one or not.
Yeah, but this is significant because this gave the NWO the top 3 championships in the company, but was more notably Hennig's only singles championship in WCW.
That's so sad.
Oh wow, yeah, I don't remember that. I mean, I could be wrong, but he turned on the Horseman at Fall Brawl, so it must have been a different one. But it was around the same year. But they were going around, they were in Charlotte a couple times a year, WCW. Territory around that time. So
that was their downfall.
So he was still turning out of the Horseman there. So I don't think he would have joined NWO that quick. What'd you say?
Nothing.
I said wrestling birthday, September 15th.
I'll hear this on replay.
1987, and we have Rhett Titus.
Oh, nice, Rhett, old Ring of Honor.
You said they were constantly coming to Charlotte. I said that was their downfall.
Because nobody likes Charlotte.
Come on.
I like Charlotte.
My city.
I don't like Charlotte.
I've never been there, so.
Oh, you're missing out on
Flair,
a lot of...
Charlotte, North Carolina. Well, who we talking?
North Carolina. Charlotte Flair is great.
I bet
Charlotte, North Carolina has a lot of...
Charlotte Flair is awesome.
Yeah, you guys like Charlie? You like Charlie?
Charlie the dog. Oh, we'll get to that.
1954. Adrian Adonis.
Nice.
Adrian Adonis.
Man,
I remember him, kind of.
Good heel.
I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I do remember him just because of history.
Yeah.
But
he was a large man with pink tights, and
he
can move. He can move like Bam Bam. He can move, and he could sell. And he'd put butts in seats because you love to see him get his ass kicked.
I remember him being one of those people that couldn't put his arms down all the way because he was so swollen, muscular that he the British Bulldog used to be. He probably couldn't wipe his own butt and stuff without a rag on a stick.
I mean, he wasn't too much bigger than Dusty Rhodes in his heyday. You know what I mean? It was just He was a flamboyant. He wore pink boas and stuff.
He did wear. He did wear.
But he was good, man. He's good. Wrestling needed guys like him.
Speaking of guys that wrestling has needed, what a generational person. He's been around for a long time in different time frames of the wrestling business. His birthday is also today, 1947. Teddy Long, player.
Oh, holla holla! What was that meme you sent me that every time you see 4 people arguing in public?
Yeah.
Teddy
We got
Long.
ourselves a tag team match, player.
You always got that look like Teddy Long.
That's right.
We got ourselves a tag team match. I'm gonna do that next time I see 4 people fighting.
And that is
run like hell.
This day in wrestling history.
Very nice. Nice one there. Adrian Adonis. I like seeing those random names pop up like that. AJ, what's going on, man? Wrestling in the headlines right now. What's happening?
So we've got a few things. First and foremost, I want to talk about the return of Dark Side of the Ring because it is awesome. They do some great shows, and they're always fascinating. They released what their subject matters this season are going to be. We have the steroid trials with like Hulk Hogan, Vince McMahon, all that good stuff.
Okay.
The plane ride from hell.
I'm so excited for that one.
I am too. That was going to be good.
We have Chris Canyon. We have Frontier Martial Arts. Luna Vachon, which I think is an interesting subject.
Chris Canyon, I think, is the first one, maybe.
Yeah, I think they're kicking it off with Chris Canyon. And then we have XPW, and then we have the terrifying Johnny K9 is going to have an episode as well. Looks like it's going to be a pretty cool season.
I can't wait.
I love this show.
So Paige, Paige here.
Paige here.
She sent out a tweet that has the wrestling world a little bit confused. The tweet just said January. Like, that's all. Like, whether or not that means, her contract is up and she's moving on. She makes her debut somewhere else. Who knows? It just, maybe that's the release of her next sex tape. Who knows? It just says January.
I mean, we don't know. It
could be anything.
We don't know.
What's next? Mick Foley is in trouble with WWE right now.
Oh, yeah. What's happening with old Mick?
He basically...
Dude love.
He basically buried his own company and built up AEW.
Does this kid still work for one of them in the
Noel?
office?
Oh, they talking about the other one, Dewey.
Yeah, Dewey, yeah.
I think he is a writer.
Yeah,
is he?
I think he is too.
Well, Vince is not happy with him right now.
I do want to backtrack real quick. Back to Paige. I noticed also, this was about a week ago, she had also tweeted out, "Can I still use This Is My House, or is that taken?"
That's the name of her next sex tape. This Is My House.
I mean, we don't know.
The marketing writes itself.
I mean, we don't know.
You could only dream.
Let's hope.
I can.
Let's hope not.
I love Paige. Last up, there's some big contracts.
Wait, what did Mick say to Barry? We didn't figure it out yet. You didn't say, did you?
Mick say to Barry?
What did he say to Barry, his own company?
He said that if he was a young up and coming talent, he would not go to WWE because they don't care about young up and coming talent. Basically, he would go to AEW because they do care. And then,
interesting.
Well, and then so he got into a bunch of shit for that, and then Booker T backed him up and said the same thing. He was like, "I agree with Mick. Our product sucks right now. We need to do something. AEW is killing it. Why aren't we doing what they are doing?" Basically, that's a paraphrase, but that's basically what it is.
Is AEW wrestlers, are they getting insurance?
I would assume so, yes, because that was one of the big sticking points of why WWE sucked so much.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't know, because they can work for they're actual independent contractors, so I don't know for sure.
Yes.
Right.
Did you just look it up?
Yep.
Nice. So yes.
It says, All Elite Wrestling offers its wrestlers health insurance business benefits, unlike the WWE.
Whoops. WWE.
Quote source on that. Where'd you get that from?
Don't say Wikipedia.
What?
What's your source?
My source, my source, muscleandfitness.com.
Okay, works.
I thought you were going to say my own brain.
Just wanted to give them credit of where we were getting that from.
You're
Anything
welcome,
else in headlines?
That's $10.
really quick, some big contracts are expiring this year. Big names left are Sami Zayn, Johnny Gargano, and then in January, obviously, Kevin Owens. But Sami Zayn and Johnny Gargano are due at the beginning of December. Like, their contracts are up, so who knows what's going to happen to them, especially with the new, very, very colorful, very hip-hoppy NXT 2.0.
Did you see... Oh my goodness! Oh, did you see Pete Dunne did resign?
Yeah. He just resigned a multi-year deal.
And
Gargano's
also,
not going nowhere either.
Also,
yeah.
You did see this, Dirty, but
There it is.
Kevin Owens put his location on Twitter to almost there, and the Young Bucks changed their location to there.
There.
Interesting.
Along with a new bio to add.
Yep.
He's going for sure. Good.
Gargano's not going anywhere.
I don't know.
I think he stays. Man, like Levi said, man, it's a full roster over there.
But I mean, if Vince has now taken control of NXT and he's pushing guys like Von Wagner, that's a bad sign. That's a bad omen, I feel like.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll get to Von Wagner, by the way, which I hope we do.
Let's get to the recap for the week here. First of all, let me remind everybody that all our previous episodes are now available on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Podcasts, TuneIn Radio, Amazon Prime Music, Audible, and SportzWire online radio Fridays at 6:45. Let's get this underway here, boys. AJ, kick us off with AEW from last Wednesday.
AEW Dynamite from last Wednesday. I will keep this short and sweet because we got a lot to get to tonight. So first up, kick off with the show, Dustin Rhodes versus Malachi Black. This is a bit of a blood feud because Dustin wanted revenge for hobbling.
You're
Cody
not going to
Rhodes.
beat up my brother.
And it started like a feud, like a revenge feud should. Dustin immediately went and attacks Malachi Black, like right before the bell even rings. They go back and forth. Dustin gets a bit of offense, and
God dang it.
So
got a Billy and Chuck reference here already early in the podcast. God dang it.
So Malachi Black. I'm just gonna.
All right, so everybody, hang on. I'm gonna give you a second to gather yourself here. I'll explain to the masses what just happened. All right, so I was telling the boys that our screen looks good tonight, of our setup and everything on, and Primo told me that I look good tonight, and then I blew him a kiss, and then so right after that, of course, in wrestling fashion, he typed out, "But this is the way you have to sing it while you read it." You look so
good to
me. So that's what we got. So we got a Billy and Chuck reference here. All right, AJ,
I tried to keep going. Like, I looked up and tried to ignore you guys, but nope.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Dustin Rhodes gets hit with a black mass in the shoulder. It was such a botched black mass, hit him in the shoulder.
They were in Cincinnati tonight too, right?
Yes, they were in Cincinnati. That'll come into play.
Yep.
So yeah, bad black mass in Dustin's shoulder, but he gets the 3.
Right. Yeah.
That's how powerful it is.
You get hit in the shoulder, and it was like
black
a player
mass.
scene.
All you gotta do is just got in the vicinity. It's like a bomb. You
yeah,
get it close.
There's
Horseshoes,
a blast radius.
hand grenades, and black mass.
Black mass.
That's all you have to do to get it close.
Although I will say that Dustin Rhodes looks fantastic. He's like 104 years old, and he still can move, and he looks great. He's in
still
great
the
shape.
natural.
Hell yeah,
natural man. Still.
I wish he was
to
still
me.
Black Rain, because that's his best gimmick ever.
No, 7.
That lasted all of 8 seconds.
7 seconds.
So then, I want to mention, this is not really a main focus of the show, but Miro and Eddie Kingston both got promos. And Eddie Kingston's basically pissed off that Miro kicked him in the dick. And then Miro, in all seriousness, when he was giving his promo, he goes, "I had to ice my balls too." And I laughed so hard when Miro said, I had to ice my balls too. Like, just putting over their back. Because they both... Miro kicked him in the dick. Yeah, he kicked Eddie Kingston directly
the
in...
word of the Redeemer.
Kicked him in the old doodle, as it were.
The old banana bags.
The old dangle.
Loins.
Primo just left the screen, came back, and just goes, loins. So, up next, CM Punk promo, which is always awesome. He thanks Sting and thanks Darby Allin. He compares being in the ring to riding a violent bicycle. Very cool.
Yeah, I love this. He uses Taz's tagline on him.
Oh, yeah, when he is talking to...
Yeah. Survive.
If you can. No, it's beat me if you can, survive if I let you.
Yeah, survive. Yeah, so he was spinning it back on him, and Taz was like, "Oh, you can't use my."
Because Taz is like, yeah.
Right.
What are you talking about?
Taz is like known for being like super like don't take my stuff.
Yeah. Yes. Right. Yes.
Like even when Minoru came out, he was like, I wore towel on my head.
He says, "Who do you want me to face? Who do you want me to face?" Taz starts talking. Everybody's like, "No."
He's like, "You've been talking about my guys." He's like, "No, I didn't."
Yeah, I know. I didn't say a word about any of them. Although I would be on board with a Ricky Starks CM Punk feud. I think that would be pretty fantastic.
What about a CM Punk Griff Grifferson feud?
No, I don't want to even acknowledge that Griff Grifferson is a person. So I won't. I'm not going to mention him later on. He is just a poodle-haired piece of shit that just needs to stay over there.
I'm calling Griff.
Dear Mr. Grifferson, where do you get off?
Grifferson.
It's a stupid name.
That's his actual name. He's Genetti.
He's genetic.
He's genetic.
Because Brian is Sean, man.
No way. Like, that's an insult
Brian's the seller.
That's an insult to Genetti. I actually liked Marty Jannetty. I did.
I love Varsity Blondes.
Go away.
I don't like many. I love because they're young and hungry, and like we know Pillman's story. You know he's got to have a tag team partner. You know what I mean? And, they'll end up breaking up, but I don't know. I like it. It's good for what it is, man. They're gonna get beat up a lot, but
Griff Grifferson just looks like he wants to talk to the manager all the time. Like, that's his gimmick. Is I want to see your manager.
Just call him Yelp.
Leaving Yelp reviews on venues. 1 star would not come back.
Let's talk to the manager.
So.
That's great.
So, a couple more things really quick. Hobbs versus Dante Martin, short, sweet. Both guys look great. Hobbs gets the win. MJF sets up his next feud with your boy, Brian Pillman Jr.
Holy shit, his mic on this mic. Wow.
PBJ is... He got a little mean.
Oh, he was killing Cincinnati, man.
Oh, my God.
He's so good. God dang, man. Like, I'm just captivated. He grabs a mic. I'm like, this is awesome every time.
Plus Aunt Lydia was sitting at at ringside, which Aunt Lydia is the woman who raised PBJ. I'm sorry, PB&J from after. I mean, go watch the Dark Side of the Ring episode. It's fantastic.
Where they said he's PB&J?
Yes, that's where that name originated from.
Yeah,
like BPJ is way easier to remember if you just say PB&J. Lots and lots and lots of heat for MJF. Fantastic.
Good stuff.
Up next, Ruby Soho versus Jamie Hayter.
Destination unknown.
Ruby Soho.
Ruby Soho.
Love that song.
Sounds like you're singing Ring of Fire.
Fire.
Up next, really quick, Dark Order versus the Pinnacle. Pinnacle wins. And all I wrote is dissension. That's
all right. All right, boys. I'm all right. I was waiting to get to this part. Dang it. JR's got me hooked now. Did y'all listen? I wrote down here, he mentioned at least a few times. So to me, is a few is at least 3. So I wrote a few. So 2 or 3.
Because a couple is 2.
That Dark Order.
One is
yeah,
one.
but I'm talking Dirty Birdisms here. I know I'm talking about me. So it was probably more than 2. So
I mean, a few is 3 to me also.
Sure, but I'm just thinking.
Not me.
At least
I'm
that
Northern.
many because after about 3, I think I stopped. So at least that many. But anyway, he referred to the Dark Order needing a leader.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, dang it, here we go. And
Who
I'm like,
could
all
it
right,
be?
so
Brian
let
Pillman
that
Jr.
already start. And then he just kind of spun it around to mention it, and then I can't remember if his Excalibur wasn't there for Monday or Friday. I can't remember which one it was, but somebody on the panel too also said, yeah, leadership, what they need, they haven't had a leader in a while, so they're playing off each other. So,
well, they're setting up either Hangman Page or obviously Bray Wyatt, one of the two. But it was cool. It's fun. I love Dark Order.
Yep,
we're all members. So up next we have a promo with Kenny Omega, and one Bryan Danielson interrupts him, and I immediately got a giant wrestling boner. Yes.
Boner.
And I was like, okay, if this is a thing, then that's all I'm going to say about it for right now, because it was awesome, and I just wanted to keep going forward. However, it looks like Bryan Danielson is going to be joining Jurassic Express and Christian Cage. And they're going to form like a little faction to go against the Elite, and also Frankie Kazarian. Awesome. Cool. Sign me up. Yes, Primo.
I actually do want to say something about this. Sorry, the champion was waiting his turn.
That was so polite.
Like he was standing there like Roman waiting for Paul to hand him his title. He was waiting for you to hand him the mic, AJ.
That's right. Anyway, out of the 3 returns between Punk, Adam Cole, and Daniel Bryan, we saw Punk wrestle at All Out, but tonight he's back at the commentator table. I want to see this dude wrestle. Yep. I get it. I know Punk can talk. I know he can. I love seeing Punk. I want to see him wrestle. Adam Cole is wrestling tonight. Daniel Bryan, I saw the freaking matchup poster or whatever it is that said we hear from Daniel Bryan again as he goes off on Omega. So I guess we're just going to hear from Daniel Bryan again. They're probably not going to let us see him wrestle until he gets his match.
Yeah, I think Omega is going to be his first match.
So it's like I just want to see these dudes in the ring.
Yeah, which Adam Cole's going on in 2 hours?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I am excited about that. Thank you, Adam Cole.
He's wrestling Frankie, right?
For coming to work.
Yeah.
For coming to work.
Well, I mean, this is his first match. Like they got to slow play it. Like they're. Wrestling 101. They're not going to throw Punk in wrestling every night AEW is on. It's going to be selective, process and pick matches.
The reason I say that is because I saw their Twitter earlier, AEW's Twitter. They said, "What's Punk going to say tonight?"
Right.
No, that's fine, but I want to see somebody get GTS'd. So.
Well, there's always that possibility. So. I mean, most likely we're going to see a face-to-face with Punk and
Hobbs or
Hobbs. Yeah. Or
what's the little dude?
Hook.
Yeah.
Hook. Yeah. Hook. All right. I loved. By the way, real quick, I loved Omega and Bryan face-to-face. It was awesome. I love that.
Yeah. I thought it was very coincidental that they both had on white tees.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But. Omega had his General Cornwallis chops back, which always awesome. But yeah, that was awesome. I can't wait going forward. And then they both say things on Rampage, but we'll get to that on Rampage. Main event: Jon Moxley versus Minoru Suzuki. Holy hell, did these two beat the shit out of each other? This is like one of the stiffest matches I've seen in a long time. But it was
Welcome to Minoru Suzuki match.
I thought it was going to be longer.
Yeah. I did too.
Yeah, Minoru, he's gotten a little in age. He's been around for a long time. You can see he doesn't move that fast. You know what I'm saying? So that's why a lot of his matches are so stiff. And
as we got further into the show, I was like, well, I guess we're only going to get like a 2-segment match here, which is what it was.
Yeah, it really was. But for what it was, it was a lot of fun to watch. It was rough to watch in times, but
it was super fun. Yeah.
Like I love it. I love seeing him on AEW.
So the match ends with Moxley finally hitting the paradigm shift for the win. Moxley, big hometown favorite, going the anti WWE route. I decided I don't like that. It doesn't fit.
I haven't liked it from day one.
I was on board at first, and now I'm just like, you need like edgier music or something.
It's just something else,
It'd be
I see what they're going for.
Sure,
I sure, but
the loose cannon, wild thing,
whole crowd interaction.
Yeah. Major league vibes.
Like the badasses coming to the ring. Everybody's involved.
But it's not a very badass song.
He's the badass.
Yeah. So I do want to mention something about Moxley because I was just reading random articles or whatever, and Bleacher Report made a great point about Jon Moxley, saying that he's the first like major name to jump ship, apart from like Cody Rhodes, obviously, because he invented it. And that without Jon Moxley, AEW wouldn't be what it is today, because he was kind of the first one that like kind of had the balls to be like, I'm going to this new promotion. So they like if you want to read the article, it's really cool. It's on Bleacher Report, but it basically says that Moxley is the most important signing overall for AEW, and that he should basically, any like legend coming in, he should always go over them, which I kind of agree with. I think it's a very good point.
Bleacher Report, that's $10. You're welcome.
Yes, the 11 or 15. I mentioned it twice. You buy one, you get one half off. So that
anything else?
Nope. One half off.
Yeah, one half off.
Yep.
Stuff.
That's it for Dynamite, AJ.
Dynamite.
One last note I want to throw in here. You guys know I'm a big Tully Blanchard fan.
Tully.
FTR is now executing the slingshot suplex.
Yep, the old
I'm trying to get Beef to put in his repertoire. So
that would be fun.
So that was cool to see that. So that was AEW Dynamite from last Wednesday. Tonight should be a good show. But right after last Wednesday's Dynamite, Thursday night was Impact Wrestling, which they are leading up to Victory Road, which is actually this coming Saturday. So last Thursday, a couple notes. They led off with Rich Swann versus Carl Anderson. Carl Anderson won by a pretty nasty cutter off the top rope into a table to finish the match. Next up was Chris Bay versus David Finlay. So we are still progressing the Chris Bay Bullet Club versus Finn Juice storyline. Finn Juice. All right, so the way this one came out was Juice Robinson ended up coming out to try to distract Bay. Finlay ends up winning by a roll-up, so a classic distraction finish there. And then Hakaleo of Bullet Club shows up, power bombs everybody. And then Juice Robinson was already nursing which I think was a shoot ankle injury. But anyway, so nonetheless, they finish him off with a concerto to the ankle. And that's kind of the way that all ends up with Juice flopping around in the ring. A couple other notes. Macklin beats Petey Williams. And then next up is our main event, which is Eddie Edwards versus Moose. And now Morrissey and Moose have kind of been working together. Go ahead, buddy.
Oh, nothing. I just wanted to see if you would talk to me.
Oh, yeah.
That's all.
Oh.
Continue, please.
I didn't know if you were doing Dark Order or wanted to mention something. All right, so like I said, main event was Eddie Edwards versus Moose. Morrissey shows up ringside. He helps Moose to not get pinned a few times during the match, and then ends up distracting Eddie so Moose can hit the spear on Eddie for the win. They end up attacking Eddie post match. So here's how this whole thing breaks down. Here is Saban shows up to help Eddie Edwards, and then basically the locker room empties out. Everybody's kind of piling on everybody. Eddie's wife shows up. She's a wrestler there too, Eddie Edwards, but I can't remember which one she was.
Angela Love?
Yeah, no, not Angelina Love. No, she's been on there lately. I just can't remember her name. She's been on there for quite a while. Anyway, so she shows up to help Eddie. She whacks on Morrissey a couple times with a kendo stick, and then the lights go out. The lights come back on, and Sammy is standing there with 2 ball bats in his hand. Sammy Callahan. He hands one over to Eddie. Eddie's kind of hesitant to take it at first, and then so Eddie takes it. They basically clear the ring. They start whacking away at everybody, all the bad guys, basically. So it runs everybody off. And then, so here's how the show goes off. All right. So after they clear the ring, the show goes off with Christian, Eddie Edwards and his wife, Josh Alexander, and Sammy Callahan holding the Impact ring as the show goes off. I was like, man, this is wild right here. Like, what kind of wrestling world are we in here? This is nuts. But yeah, it was pretty wild. So that's how Impact ended up. Progression of storylines. This coming Saturday, which we'll cover, is Victory Road. So all right, Primo, you're next up, brother. SmackDown. Let's get it popping. Smackity down.
Smackity down, baby.
Whose game is it?
Go
Primo's
ahead.
game, baby.
Go ahead there, Primo.
Primo.
What's up, everybody? Just joined in the chat. What's up? Undead Lumberjack. What's happening, Jet Dryer? Everybody.
Primo.
In here.
Primo. All right. So I'm going to hit a couple quick points, then we'll get to the main storyline. Here we go. Smackity down. We're going to get to the point that Mr. Money in the Bank comes out and says, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's the almighty Bobby Lashley or the tribal chief. If you have what he needs, he's coming for your neck, and you're going to feel his power. Basically, is what he said. Also, we have the Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair contract signing for the Women's Championship. It was SmackDown Women's Championship at Extreme Rules. Becky says the original WrestleMania main eventer has arrived. Becky eventually signs the contract after further establishing her heel status with the crowd. This contract signing ends without any violence. Another contract with no fight.
I like how her heel Becky is just Becky in a fuzzy coat. Like this.
I want to say too, the 9/11 video packages were awesome.
They always do a good job.
I mean, they always do a great job in it, but I always like to bring.
I meant to put that in this day in history. It didn't happen exactly on this day in history, but I think it was SmackDown.
Out of your nose. I can't
it was SmackDown.
What the fuck is that?
I know.
You grew a bull nose ring in the middle of the pod.
I've been waiting for Dirty to notice this for so long.
It kept looking like a glare, like your nose was shiny or something, and then I just figured it out when you leaned forward. What is he doing, Jet Dryer? What is this?
Anyway, so
wait, do you actually have your nose pierced? Like, what just happened?
I don't know.
It's a magic trick.
I
Anyway,
can't wait to make fun of you for that. That's going to be great.
So, however, SmackDown was one of the first mass sporting events that was organized after 9/11.
By the way, we picked a bad moment to start making fun of you for your nose piercing. Like, we're trying to be serious for a minute. They're like, look at your nose.
Well, I think we were done talking about it. I was the one that brought it up.
What up, repeat? Thanks for the acknowledgement. All right, so that contract signing ends without any violence. Once again, I think this is like the second one in a row we've had without any fighting.
Getting pretty boring.
So then we have Edge versus Rollins. Rollins hit some glam slams, and Edge even hit a pedigree. The match was straight. I wrote this down. This match was straight fire. Like, it was good.
Me too. I wrote
Yep,
Edge
yep.
Rollins, awesome.
I gotta say, this whole SmackDown at MSG was really good.
was
Like,
good.
I
was a good
I
show.
enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah.
So these two blew the roof off of MSG after a kick to the groin, 3 super kicks, and a curb stomp. Seth Rollins finally takes down Edge. Edge ends up getting carried out on a stretcher and taken away in an ambulance. A ambulance. Afterwards, Rollins says he doesn't know how he's supposed to feel about the situation. He looks like almost a little shook that he could have just ended Edge, but at the same time, he looks also satisfied.
I'll make a prediction right now. This is the beginning of
a tag team player.
Seth Rollins' face turn.
I was going to say, yep.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Same thing, or a repackage.
Yeah, some sort of. I think the whole
Kind of change.
Yeah, the whole drip, stupid fucking thing. I hated that.
Drip God.
Get
Get right.
Whatever that
Burn
is.
it down!
I do like Burn It Down, but I bet it's the start of his face turn. He's stale now as a heel. He'll be stale pretty quickly as a face. I love Seth Rollins. Don't get me wrong; he's one of my favorites. But he can only be one thing for so long, and then you're like, okay, I'm bored with this. Switch back, and then after that, you're like, okay, I'm bored with this. Switch back, and then so maybe I don't like him all that much now that I'm saying all this out loud. Anyways,
so let's move on to the main point of the show. The head of the table arrives to start the show off. He confirms that WWE runs NYC and the tribal chief runs WWE. Therefore,
That means
the Bloodline runs the WWE.
we're the ones.
That's right. We are the one, and they all hold up one. Which also means the tribal chief runs MSG. So he makes everyone at the Garden acknowledge him. And they were.
I love this segment.
they were, yeah.
The crowd was chanting Roman so loud.
I love it.
Everyone wanted, I wrote this down, everyone was indeed acknowledging him.
I love how
Did you use the word
I love
indeed?
how
Yeah.
I love how he goes out there and talks about it, and like it's like a part of his gimmick now because he's like, all right, it reminds me of like when Scott Hall used to come out and take the survey. Hey yo, are you with us or are you against us? It reminds me of things like that. He comes out like, I'm gonna give you this time for you to acknowledge me, like Cincinnati or wherever town they're in. You know what I mean? Like, I love it, man. That's great.
And
That's
they're getting. They're that Hill faction that is getting over for sure.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Out comes the Beast, Brock Lesnar, man bun, or ponytail and beard, all in all. Pat McAfee is back, by the way. He's healthy. He says if the aliens came tonight, then Brock Lesnar is the human that he would send to fight him.
Brock Lesnar looks like a curling stone.
He is
now,
the alpha of our
little...
species, says Pat McAfee.
The alpha of our species.
Paul says he fails to understand. He asks, of all the championships we could go after together, why would you choose the Universal title? Brock responds by asking Paul, why didn't you tell Roman that I was going to be at SummerSlam?
This is great.
Immediately afterwards, Roman rips the Universal Championship from Paul's grasp, and the Bloodline leaves Heyman stranded in the ring with Brock Lesnar as the crowd's chanting, Suplex City.
Yeah, but before that, though, they were chanting, you fucked up to Paul.
Oh, yeah. They did chant that. Yeah, you fucked up.
Why did you? Yeah, because Roman's like, why didn't you tell me that Brock was going to be there? The crowd slowly build, and then they started to take it out. I don't know if y'all noticed that.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah, you can't beat a live crowd. So
where's tracksuit Roman too, man? What happened, man?
They got to show off. They're showing off the Bloodline T-shirt.
But everybody else can wear it. He needs to be TSR, man. That's when he's going to kick some ass.
So the crowd starts chanting Suplex City. Paul quickly turns into Brock's advocate real quick. Brock is amped up as Paul is doing his thing, and tells Paul it's just like old times. Then he tells Paul to accept his challenge for the Universal Championship before Roman fires him. Brock goes, and obviously Paul stumbles, and because he doesn't want to burn a bridge with Roman here. And Brock goes to F5 Paul Heyman, but Roman saves him, and Heyman and the Bloodline ended up making their exit together. But so backstage, Paul Heyman says that the tribal chief will answer Brock's challenge when he deems it's a. I love this. Every time somebody big comes in, they expect Roman just to be like yes or no. When he chooses,
Yeah, you're on the tribal chief time.
That's right. You don't just demand from the head of the table.
That's right.
So,
except you, we demand from you.
Later on, Paul says the tribal chief will answer the challenge after Usos defend their tag team championships against the Street Profits. After Roman hypes up the Usos before their match, he turns to Paul and says, I saved you. Talking about earlier, referencing the F5. Why didn't you tell me Brock was going to be at SummerSlam? Yeah. And they left it at that. The Usos have their match defending their titles against the Street Profits.
You fucked up.
During the match, the Tribal Chief and Paul Heyman come out to watch the match.
This match was good.
It was really good. When it starts to look like the Street Profits might win, Roman Reigns steps in and makes sure that his cousins don't lose. After he chokes out Montez Ford, Roman says the Tribal Chief ducks from no man. If Brock Lesnar wants it, he's going to get it. He's going to smash Brock just like he smashed Finn Balor.
Oh!
Boom, boom.
Boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom. That's right. The Demon's music hits. The Demon has arrived at MSG. Michael Cole says it appears
Roman's gonna eat.
Right then and there, Michael Cole says it appears the Demon will face Roman at Extreme Rules for the championship. Roman and Finn stare each other down as SmackDown goes off the air. That was SmackDown.
I love seeing Demon Finn back so much, and then the immediate realization that he's just going to get fed to Roman.
I'm always such a fan of the artwork.
I love it so much. And then...
I know. It's so good, man.
Why?
So
yes.
So detailed.
Also, Undead Lumberjack, yes. Why spoil Finn?
It was the closer, the show closer.
Yeah, and it was it was a setup to say, this is who Roman's going to have to deal with, not just Finn Balor, but the Demon Finn Balor.
We're going to give you the Demon
play
here at the end of the show and make you want to come back next week.
But
all right, AJ, hit us up with last Friday's version of AEW Rampage. What happened on that?
This was short, or it seemed short. Because look, my notes are only one page. Normally they drag on and on, but kickoff. Pac versus Andrade El Idolo. So
yes.
So their match got
Andrade.
Their match got bumped from All Out. So this is their little makeup, and they weren't fucking about. Like they didn't even get entrances. They were just in the ring, boom, ready to go. Yep. And holy God, was this match fantastic!
It was.
So it starts off, Pac is just so fast and so smooth that Andrade Kid doesn't really have an answer for him until Andrade hit, it was like a springboard spike DDT on the apron. That was the first time when I was like,
they're not human.
And it only gets worse than that, because then later on in the match, Andrade hits this like over the top rope corkscrew splash plancha type thingy again, where I was just like, for like another 30 seconds.
I mean, he's in the ring with the man that Gravity forgot. So
the Gravity did forget him for the most part. That's why on his off time he's just like floating in a room.
Yeah.
He can't go outside because
if he goes, he'll just go off. They have to tether him.
He's like a helium balloon.
No, he has one of those backpacks that parents put on their little kids.
Like a little tether backpack.
The leash. Yeah.
Like he's just like floating around.
And the freaking Penta and Phoenix just keep walking. They walk him everywhere.
Carry him along. Sometimes they'll let him go and he gets stuck in a tree, and then they have to like climb up the tree to get him down, and it's really
this is the greatest.
Really book it right now.
Yeah.
AEW. So this match was fantastic. Andrade gets the win, but he had to steal it because Chavo interjects himself into the match, and
he didn't like that Chavo. He didn't like that Chavo helped him.
No, he did not, and then he like punched him afterwards. However, it didn't take away from how awesome this match was. It was really good.
El Guapo.
El Guapo. Ooh, that means the handsome.
Bum, bum, bum.
Are gringos falling from the sky? Michael, if you want to answer that question for me in the chat, please do. Up next, we have Michael. Are gringos falling from the sky, Michael? Come on.
So,
He's not even there anymore.
my take on this is: do you think it is because maybe Chavo's obligation with AEW is up, or you know, what else would he be doing in AEW if it's not being with Andrade?
Whole backstage something or other. And thank you, Mago. Yes, El Guapo is the correct answer to our Gringos falling from the sky. And yes, I don't know why they put Chavo with Andrade in the first place. Like, because his promos in like the
I mean, I'm a big fan of Chavo.
I like Chavo too, but I didn't understand it because like Andrade's promos were like they have like the subtitles and it's like they're really like
it looked like a Latino faction to start. So
yeah, but then I'm glad they didn't go that route because I don't like.
I was kind of hoping that eventually they could recruit the Lucha Brothers,
which would have been cool.
I like the LWO actually.
Super crazy.
I did not like the.
I want to get an LWO shirt.
I mean, I'm sure you still could.
I can go. You just ProWrestlingTees.com. That's $10.
If you match it if you mention it another time, it's $15.
Oh, that's right. We get one free.
Yeah, one for half price. Up next, Ruby Soho, Chris Statlander, and Riho versus Rebel, Jamie Hayter, and Britt Baker. Ruby Soho wins the match. There was a lot going on in this match.
Yeah, there was.
I mean, and so it was hard to even like decide what was good about it, and yet it was good. Like I liked it a lot. The crowd loved this match; they were into it. But Leah Soho, Statlander, and Britt Baker are so freaking over. It's kind of amazing. Up next in the main event, we have PB&J in the main event. Congratulations, Dirty. Yes, you with the hat.
Yeah.
How do you feel every week with Rampage with the pre-main event interviews with Mark Henry, and then also when he goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the main event."
No, I don't like it. You know my thoughts on Mark Henry very well. Which I guess we can mention some of the backstage segments, like the Sting and Tully Blanchard. Are we going to get a Sting and Tully Blanchard match where they...
No, Tully Blanchard is going to get his bones broken.
They'll be in the corner.
Tully Blanchard and Sean Spears against Sting and Darby Allin.
Where Tully comes out, kicks him, and goes and tags Sean back in?
Yes, and then disintegrates because he's a mummy.
Right. He's a bag of bones.
There's also a couple of segments with Adam Cole and
Brian
Danielson. And Brian Danielson just wants to kick everyone's face in. I love it. He's there. He's like, I just want to beat everyone's face.
He's got a badass attitude all of a sudden.
That's great. He doesn't want to put people over.
Because I think he was so vanilla in WWE.
Yeah, they kind of made him be that way. So anyways, back to the main event. Brian Pillman versus Max Caster. Simple match, but it did its job. You know, Caster looked like a cheating dick. Brian Pillman looked like a valiant baby face.
He looked like a Cincinnati Bengal / Fred Flintstone.
He did, yes.
With the outfit, but I love it, man. He is white meat, baby face, hometown.
All the way. This is his hometown.
Yeah.
The Bengals jersey.
So they're recording Dynamite on Wednesday then too.
Yeah, they're doing Dynamite and
Rampage
back to back.
Okay, yep. All right, good deal.
Which I just found that out too.
So that's cool, man. If you go to a show, you
get both. You get both their main shows, which is something to keep in mind. PBJ looked awesome though. I like his finishing springboard.
PBJ, sir.
PB&J
Jr. Next AEW World Champion.
That's
year 2025.
Year 20. Yeah, next in 2027.
I was about to say that 2025.
Then you'll be a mummy.
Ooh.
That's all I got.
Dark.
That's right.
Dark.
You're a mummy. That's right.
And by that am I the Yeti mummy.
Oh, don't mention
ridiculous
that.
Gimmicks. Ridiculous gimmicks.
Don't mention the Yeti.
A Yeti.
Unless you want to mention it as my Twitter handle, Yet@AJ. Follow me.
All right. What else happened on Rampage?
I don't know, nothing.
That was it.
That was
Yeah,
it.
that
But
was
the Brian Pillman Jr. goes over, and
He
then
does.
he
He
goes down
gets-
and hugs his
Aunt Lydia and his sister.
Aunt. Yep. So that was cool.
You already
That
said
was.
John Moxley came out, right?
No,
Yeah. Moxley came out and at the end.
he did, which was also cool because you had both hometown boys
Yep.
looking good.
Nice.
I
All
did
right, let's
like it.
move on,
I like that.
Primo, to Monday Night Raw. This was a big Raw, man.
Les Raw.
The headlines.
Les Raw for Primo.
As they started out, let me just talk about this real quick. As they started out on social media saying that Big E was calling his shot, that he was cashing in tonight, no matter what, somehow, some way. He was putting it out there already. So we knew that coming into the show that this was probably going to be a big night. So bring us in here, Primo.
We're going to go to Monday Night Raw for the Raw recap. Big E arrives to Raw with his Money in the Bank briefcase in hand ahead of the WWE Championship match, which was moved from Extreme Rules to this past Monday's Raw main event between Randy Orton and Bobby Lashley. Randy and Bobby arrive right behind him. Big E reminds them that he might still cash in his briefcase tonight. MVP explains how the WWE title match was changed from Extreme Rules to tonight's Raw because Randy was in the back politicking and all that jazz. Randy retorts and says he didn't. He just got it done because his name is Randy freaking Orton. So
RKO.
I thought his middle name was Keith, not freaking, but okay. Next up, we have Charlotte defeating Shayna Baszler in a championship contenders match due to a distraction from Nia Jax. Alexa Bliss comes out after the match and gives Charlotte her own doll. So she'd have something to play with after Alexa takes her title.
Charlie.
Yep, Charlie. She has accessories.
Kinda. This was funny.
She had her own little robe and her own little championship.
Charlotte, I liked her little belt.
Yeah. Charlotte sets Alexa off by throwing the doll back at her, and Alexa attacks her.
I like that Charlie didn't have any voodoo powers. I like that it was just a doll and no
like she didn't look at it, and then suddenly Charlotte fell to the ground.
Like
turn
her into stone like Medusa or something.
Yes, or like started mimicking like the doll.
Right.
I put this in here because it wasn't really a point, but it was a point that needs to be said. Karrion Kross cuts a promo about his list of casualties continuing to grow. Mm-hmm. He's trying to sell that he's some unstoppable badass monster, even though he lost his first few matches on the main roster.
Sure.
I noticed that he was not in his sex gimp outfit, which
for the promo,
to be honest,
it was
a little disappointing that he doesn't just always go around.
He wears a suit backstage, but he takes the time to take his suit off to put on that stupid outfit.
No, it's on under the suit. Like he has that on.
It's like Superman.
Yeah, it's like his gladiator outfit.
Super BDSM.
That's the only thing I can come up with.
He's like Tobias Funke in Arrested Development. Like he just always has on the nipple suspenders and stuff.
I guess underneath. You can't really count his wins over Jeff Hardy as really anything. Jeff Hardy lost to Damian Priest on this very show as well.
And Karrion Kross lost to Jeff Hardy. So where does that leave him?
And he got a bro kick, I think, right after that.
He did.
What is Sheamus doing with this? Is he like a late night in the shadows?
You're talking about he's a brawler.
Yeah, he's like a bare knuckle.
It's like
he's like a street fighter, like alley cat dude, like
right. Yeah, it's like he's a Dick Tracy's enemy or something from back in the day. You know what I mean? Like,
hey, Undead, you are right. Dirty is a big fan of Demolition.
In the sound there.
I think he's trying to go for the whole like bare knuckle boxer, like Brad Pitt from Snatch, since WWE loves to have relevant references that they plug into their characters. Yeah.
I mean,
so that's what my guess.
If you listen to the show, I mean, I'm a big Karrion Kross fan. I hate this whole thing. It's just
you love it.
I don't know. I'm just hopefully they'll bail on it soon. Is all I'm hoping.
So getting to the main event, we have Bobby Lashley and Randy Orton for the WWE Championship.
Right. Yeah, let me tell you this too.
I'll let you.
They finished this match with 9 minutes left to go in the show.
Yeah.
They finished the match with 9 minutes left to go in the show. Go ahead.
So
I was going to say that told us everything we needed to know about what was happening.
yes, true. You are correct. Bobby Lashley ends up defeating Randy Orton in the main event. After the match, Bobby Lashley attacks both members of RK Bro. He starts to limp away after putting away Randy Orton through an announcer table. But Big E comes out to cash in.
Big E!
The match between Big E and Bobby Lashley begins. Big E immediately targets the leg that he was limping on, that Lashley was limping on. However, Lashley is able to deliver a single spear. Big E is able to kick out because he's the fresher opponent. Excuse me, words.
More fresher.
Funner, more fresh, funnest. Nope. He counters Bobby Lashley into the big ending. 1, 2, 3, and new WWE World Heavyweight Champion, Big E.
Let me tell you about the only thing I hated about this. This just is. All right, I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but he cashed in and then they went to a commercial.
Yep.
Yes, I did notice.
Yeah, I did as well.
Come on, like you know what I mean? Like,
no, it should have been one of those run down, cash in, hit, counter, hit. All right, bang, bang, boom, 1, 2, 3. All right.
Yeah, I mean, he's supposed to be cashing it in as soon as possible to get the guy while he's still kind of tired from the match. So that's why he's coming in to cash it in. So he comes in cashing in, and then they go right to a commercial.
They gave a commercial break to let the World Heavyweight or the WWE Champion get a breather.
Yeah.
So Big E wins the WWE Championship, and the New Day comes out and celebrates with him, very reminiscent of when Kofi won at WrestleMania.
So what about Xavier Woods now? Do you think he's a little bit bummed?
No.
He's the only member. Do you guys think that Xavier Woods? Yeah. Do you think he'll ever get a run at the title, Xavier Woods?
No.
World title?
Yeah.
No. I mean, never say never, but if I had to choose, I'd say no.
Yeah, me too. Which makes me sad because he's so underrated in the ring.
I mean,
I think
if he can get people behind him like Daniel Bryan did,
or Kofi Kingston,
or something, or Kofi, yeah.
I mean, if they just want to get, I mean, I love Xavier Woods. Don't get me wrong.
Me too.
I just don't see it happening. I think
neither.
Unless they just want to give it to each member of the New Day, but
which Vince might. You never know.
Also, if the Universal title wasn't so relevant right now because it's on Roman Reigns, he probably could get that.
Yeah, I can see that too.
Because it's just like a title.
They know that they needed to make a move, and this was the right move to make.
Yeah.
I just kind of hated it that, I mean, I know they wanted people to tune in. They want, when Big E started calling his shot saying he's cashing in tonight. I get it that they wanted him to, to get the ratings, but it just takes a little,
little much out of it.
Just takes it out of it. Yeah.
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 Which I read that the reason why they did this was because it was a direct result of AEW. Like they were actually reacting to something.
Yeah, they know what's going on. I mean, they had to get in the headlines. They had to shift some.
And I mean, that's exactly what I mean. We were with a tweet beforehand, so they got us to tune in, and then they showed Big E first thing when Raw started up. They showed him backstage all throughout the 3-hour show. So and they got us to stay to the end. However, they didn't. I recorded it, so I watched it after the fact anyway. But that was their purpose.
Yeah.
Michael said had to stop pissing off fans.
Well said too, because they had to make a move to make the fans happy. Yeah. Everybody loves this move. Everybody.
Yeah, and also I want to tell you all out there that the Sit Down Marks podcast called this immediately after Money in the Bank pay-per-view. We called that Big E would cash in on Bobby at some point.
Okay, I'm so dumb because I was like, wait,
that
who
really
called
a prediction
us?
though? I mean, that's what people do is they cash in the briefcase.
Yeah, but we
knew it was going to be against Bobby.
Bobby, yeah.
We called that.
Like Bobby,
all three of us. This podcast, you are included in that prediction.
Yeah, I just didn't remember that. I didn't
really it's that old head thing.
Prediction.
Yeah.
No.
He only remembers what
fuck your old jokes. Stick with your ass today.
I'm sorry, I have a bad memory. Too.
Yeah, I'm saying, so I didn't really remember, so So y'all were just saying that we said it was Bobby.
Yes.
That would be
Yeah.
the one. Okay, gotcha.
Yep, that was us.
Nice. Now, it'd be interesting to see what happens now with Big E. So
I like the New Day's reunited finally.
I do too.
They are,
I
yeah,
like
So
it.
happy with that.
They're probably gonna like fuck it up and turn him heel or something like that.
Give Kofi and Xavier the tag championships again.
Yeah.
yeah, and then they can have
Now you can have
Bloodline versus the
right,
New Day.
Exactly.
Yeah, champ.
Which we've had. I mean, Usos and New Day. They've always had phenomenal matches.
Sure. All right, let's move on to NXT last night, which they were dubbing as NXT 2.0.
Yes.
They redid the arena. It's more
I'm going to talk about that.
Now seating.
Yep.
Let's hear it.
That's my first note. The new era of NXT has begun. NXT 2.0. I say I do like the new look. How do you guys like it?
I actually like it too.
I don't know. It seems a little in your house to me.
So I like it.
It
These are glow vibes from
These are my reasons why. It looks like they're able to fit more. It looks like they're able to fit more fans in.
Yeah, it does.
And it also is more well lit. It's not so dark and dingy like the other NXT was. It makes it brighter, so it makes it seem bigger.
Definitely.
And also the ringside area does also appear to be more spread out.
That's all Kevin Dunn's doing too, because he was there like overseeing the entire production of it, and that's like what Kevin Dunn is known for, is like making wrestling arenas look awesome. Like I don't like Kevin Dunn,
glass,
but
I think in front of all the rows too.
Yeah, it looked really cool. I like the look of it a lot. I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
Continue.
So.
Yeah, Ray, when you are.
I was listening to your Kevin Dunn thing.
That ended like 3 minutes ago.
Our 2021 breakout tournament winner Carmelo Hayes arrives with Trick Williams in tow.
Tricky trick.
Trick Williams is bad about it, like he says. From here on out, wherever Carmelo Hayes goes, Trick Williams goes as well. Trick Williams.
He routed?
Yeah. Trick Williams uses Enzo's line, Enzo Amore, saying he was born with the gift of gab, and he also has the gift of jab.
This segment was a little, I don't know.
Didn't like it.
They remind us that Carmelo Hayes is the golden child of NXT, and when he shoots, he doesn't miss. As they're leaving, Duke Hudson sticks his big old nose in their business, and he stares them down and he pushes past them. Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes, rightfully so, feel disrespected and beat the crap out of him. So Duke Hudson's left in the ring.
Yeah, they're like, not anymore.
Let's move on to the second major point. Due to injury over the weekend, Samoa Joe had to relinquish the championship. Because of this, Ciampa, Dunn, Cool Kyle, and L.A. Knight Primo's game. They all had to cut promos to start the show ahead of their fatal four-way to decide who will be the new NXT champion. But first, Braun Breaker decides to introduce himself to LA Knight and says he wants to prove himself out there in the ring. Now, for those of you out there who don't know, Braun Breaker is Rick Steiner's son.
The dog.
Braun Breaker.
That's right.
Rick Steiner.
That's a silly name.
This dude is jacked.
Yeah,
yes,
he is built like a Steiner. Like you could look at him and tell he's a Steiner.
He's to be kissing the peaks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So anyway, he says he wants to prove himself, and LA Knight says, "All right, kid, get out there. Let's go have a match right now." They get out there, and if you think because LA Knight's going to be in the main event, I'm sure that obviously LA Knight's going to win because he's going for the NXT Championship later on. So, but no, actually, Braun Breaker defeats LA Knight and goes over. And
did they let each other know about what was being booked like throughout the whole entire show? Why would they book LA Knight to lose and then have him go on to be in the match for the championship belt? Like that doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, then the one that didn't make any sense was Pete Dunne and Ridge Holland attacked Cool Kyle in his locker room during NXT. Because of this, William Regal says Kyle is unable to compete in the Fatal 4-Way, but taking his place will be the debuting Von Wagner.
Oh, Von Wagner. I'm scared.
Von Wagner.
So
Von Wagner.
they have the Fatal 4-Way has now become Tommaso Ciampa, Pete Dunne, L.A. Knight, and Von Wagner. They face off in their Fatal 4 matchup, and Goldie has come home. Tommaso Ciampa is once again the NXT champion.
That was great result. Very good result.
Yeah, I kind of figured that's the way they would go. I like this too, putting it back on Ciampa. Ciampa's he's a great champ, man. Yeah, this was awesome.
So I worry about Von Wagner because, like I was reading, and apparently he is what Vince envisions as NXT going forward, is big dippy guys that can't really do anything, but look like they belong in Vince McMahon's World Bodybuilder Federation or whatever. That's why I'm terrified of NXT right now, because I think it's going to... I don't think it will, but it has the potential to turn into just a bunch of big, beefy guys who really don't have any talent.
Man,
beating the crap out of each other.
Yeah, they are showcasing new guys. They got a new look.
Von Wagner.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
So,
I'm scared that it's going to go back to like 1988. Like where Vince is like, oh, these guys are great. Wow, look at their beef. And it's going to be
I love when you do the Vince voice.
It hurts my throat.
What better way to close out the very first night of NXT 2.0 than none other than Index's wedding? How exciting. I actually enjoyed it. It was hilarious.
Yeah, me too.
They're already, most of them are already up on the stage, or on the ring, excuse me. Johnny Gargano walks Indy down the aisle to give her away to Dexter Gaylord Loomis.
Dexter Gaylord Loomis. Yeah, I wrote that down too.
Johnny, at the very beginning, he keep being super disruptive. Austin Theory and Ozzy Jones are all dressed like Dexter Loomis.
So Theory didn't come back to disrupt the party. He came back to be a friend.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was incorrect last week. He was just there to be hilarious. When asked if anyone objects to the wedding, everyone raises their hand until Dexter opens up his coat and reveals the hatchet.
Like he just threatened to murder everyone. That made me laugh. Like, oh, you object? I will murder all of you.
Indy gives these great vows to Dexter, and then it's Dexter's turn. He just gives her the thumbs up.
Yeah. My favorite line from Indy, though, was when she was complimenting, she goes, Dexter, she's like telling all this great stuff about him. She goes, I've never seen you lose a staring contest. That was a good line.
So, because of that thumbs up and him not actually giving vows, the wedding officiator rips into him for not doing them. And because of that, Dexter chokes him out. Now we don't have a wedding, someone to officiate the wedding. However, they're all looking at Mr. Regal to try to get him to do it. And he's like, no, I ain't going out there. That dude's crazy. Beth Phoenix steps up to finish officiating. She had a feeling something like this would happen. So the night before, she got ordained online. Indy, they do the I do's. Indy says I do, and Dexter. They didn't think he was going to speak, so Beth was like, "Yeah, we'll just take that as a yes." And he covers her microphone and says, "I do."
Yeah.
So Dexter speaks. By the power invested in Beth Phoenix by freeonlineordainment.com, she now pronounces them husband and wife. The screen pans out to a backstage TV where NXT champion Tommaso Ciampa is watching the ceremony. He gets approached and congratulated by Braun Breaker. That's a mouthful. He tells Braun congrats on his first victory on NXT 2.0, and they shake hands. They have an intense stare down as the first episode of NXT 2.0 goes off the air.
Nice. Couple quick notes here. Did y'all see the newly formed Diamond Mine?
Yes, Ivy Nile.
Yep, Ivy Nile, and then they got
Creed brothers.
The Creed brothers, yeah, and then Roddy's still there.
Yeah,
also,
Creed brothers were there last week. I just forgot to mention it.
Yep. Also, too, did you guys see Mandy's new makeover?
Yeah,
yes,
I like that.
I have all these things in my notes actually, but I kept it at 3 points.
Well,
Yeah.
it says right here. It says hit 3 main bullet points and storylines, and then right here it says side notes. I think so.
It's
You can speak as you wish. Primo.
Well, okay.
you
Well,
always keep bringing up the 3 storylines. So this is like the third podcast in a row. So
I
figured I'd
like
just
the
play
3
something
points,
now.
so I'm being strict about it, so we don't keep going.
Yeah,
because
well,
we're this far in, and we can get to the other segments now.
He's
Man.
like, no, there's no deviation. There's no.
Because I really
going off
this
script.
whole page
3.
is NXT.
3.
3. 1, 2, 3.
3.
No bullshit. No bollocks.
Because I didn't talk about Hit Row, or I didn't talk about.
Why would you talk about
yeah,
it?
no,
Yeah,
no,
Talk about
Mandy Rose interrupts, and she makes this. She does have brown hair or whatever it is now.
Whoa. Primo, can you keep this to 3 points, please?
Can I get to my one reasonable point I was going to say about Mandy? She looked like besides the hair, did she have some surgery done? She looks, I don't know, or maybe it's makeup, but
I think it was
she
just a
looked
lot
different.
of.
She looked a little different.
I think she raided Carmella's locker.
Could have been makeup because they may be trying to go for that look because her face got busted 2 weeks ago.
Was
Yeah, it did.
All right. Well, before we get to today's Dropkick discussion, let me run over what's going on in the indie scene here. AAW out of Chicago's next show is October the 1st. I believe that is back at Bourbon Street where me and the boys were not long ago. I want to say, too, Josh Woods won the Pure Championship off of Jonathan Gresham in Ring of Honor over the weekend. So that was pretty big because Gresham had basically had that title for a long time. Moving on down the list, Paradigm Pro Wrestling's next show is September 26th. So that would be next Sunday. And then next Friday, September 24th, down at St. Louis Anarchy, me and AJ and Adam are heading down to watch Wartime by St. Louis Anarchy. Headliner is Jeremy Wyatt versus Daniel Makabe. A lot of other awesome matches. Going to be breaking down that card next week. Also coming up October 2nd, PWX. You heard me talk about it. Minoru Suzuki is going to be there. Sir Lance Murderhawk is going to be there as well. And then also Glory Pro Wrestling out of St. Louis. The very next day, October the 3rd, Little Ring of Horrors is the name of the card with Minoru Suzuki. And then also Game Changer Wrestling over on the East Coast, October the 9th, is going to be the big match between Nick Gage and John Moxley in Atlantic City. So that one's going to be a really big match there. So that is the roundup for what's coming up here shortly. So next up, we got the Dropkick discussion of the week. Sponsored by Coastland Apparel. Use promo code BIRDTV for 15% off your order. That's right. Use promo code BIRDTV for 15% off your order. Go now to coastlandapparel.com and use that promo code BIRDTV for 15% off, and we appreciate the support. Also, we want to thank Teespring for our production of the shirts like you see right here. Is it TeePublic?
TeePublic.
TeePublic. I'm sorry, TeePublic.
Teespring, that's $10.
Yeah.
Teespring, $15.
TeePublic for making those awesome shirts. Go check those out. And go follow us on all of our social medias. Sit Down Marks, especially on Twitter, SITDOWNMARKS. All right, boys, let's get to today's top 5, our favorite ridiculous gimmicks. Now, this could be any gimmick from any time. Anything that was ridiculous. I mean, wrestling is ridiculous, so basically any gimmick is going to be ridiculous. I mean, let's just call it what it is. So let's talk about that as we got that coming up here. So our top 5 ridiculous gimmicks, of course, here. AJ, why don't you get us started off with number 5?
First of all, Jet Dryer. I don't have to dignify that with the response, but yes, this is a child's large, so that was funny. Okay, number 5. So
Johnny
for my number 5, I did an entire stable because they are all equally awesome and stupid. It's the Dungeon of Doom.
I thought you were going to say the oddities.
The oddities.
same.
It's the Dungeon of Doom. So let's see. Who do we have here? We have Big Show, a.k.a. the Giant, who was billed as Andre the Giant's son. Sure.
Right.
We have Zodiac, who is also Ed Leslie, who is also Brutus the Barber Beefcake, and all he could say was yes or no. And he had his face painted all black and white. It's so stupid. There was Meng, who had like the thumb in the pie.
Yeah.
Yep.
there was the Taskmaster, which is so stupid. Like Kevin Sullivan with like his red tights and his like little black fucking
the stupid eyebrows.
And then like I can't remember, was Earthquake, was he the shark when he was in Dungeon of Doom, or was he Typhoon? I can't remember which one he was. I remember them both.
Which one?
Earthquake.
He was Typhoon. No,
was he? No, he was, because he had. I remember him having like the shark onesie where if you pulled it up, it looks like a shark's mouth biting.
Oh yeah. So Tugboat and
Tugboat. I
So,
wish
yeah.
Tugboat was in the Dungeon of Doom. Then their promos were always so stupid. They were in like the cave with the Lord IOK or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
And they would, cut promos about like the moons of Amankara, and then talk about Big Show's monster truck on the roof. And like, I loved the whole entire Dungeon of Doom gimmick, and it was so goddamn stupid.
Yeah.
So that's my number 5.
All right. Well, I'll go next here. My number 5, I think a lot of people are going to probably recognize. God dang. That didn't work.
Yep.
Silence. So it was Dolph Ziggler when he got rid of his gimmick.
There's a hurricane coming through.
Yes.
How are you gonna go against your character? Oh, you do like him. Yeah, you like him.
Yeah. Shane Helms, the Hurricane,
Shane
is my
Helms.
number 5. He's a North Carolina guy. I mean, he got over a superhero that's not a superhero by doing ridiculous stuff.
Tried to choke
what's
slam.
up with that?
What's up with that?
The reporter, like the whole deal, like he got over, and he, everybody loved him, man. The guys thought he was hilarious. Women thought he was funny. The kids loved him, of course. So, I mean,
thought he was
he's got to be in the top 5 for me.
One of my favorite segments from The Rock is actually with Hurricane Helms, where the Rock is like, "You're nothing. He's like, excuse me. The Rock's phone is ringing. Hello, it's nothing.
Right.
He says he knows you." Like, that's one of my favorite promos ever.
He's had some good ones. Primo,
3
number
count.
5.
3 count. Sorry.
3 count. Oh my god.
Focused on 3 count.
I forgot he was in 3 count. That's so
Him and
bad.
Shan Moore and the other dude.
The other guy that no one cares about.
Speaking of, it's so weird that that's your number 5, dude. Because
Why?
my number 5 is the SHIT Rosie, the superhero in training.
Yep.
Because you had this super serious Samoan dude that was just in 3-minute warning with Jamal, aka Umaga, and he went in to become like this superhero in training, like a trainee wrestler, and he was paired up with Hurricane.
You know what they call Samoa dudes in Samoa?
Dudes.
Joe.
Just dudes.
Joe.
Dudes.
Call 'em
Just dudes. They
dudes.
call him Joe.
Go.
They're all
Call
Joes.
them Joes. Bunch of Joes.
All right, that's top 5. Let's do
That's a good
4s.
pick.
AJ.
So my number 4 is a gimmick. I don't know why anyone would come up with this gimmick and think that it was a good idea. The Red Rooster, which was Terry Taylor.
Terry Taylor, yeah.
He actually thought that he was a rooster. Like, he had like the little like red thing in his hair, and he would like come to the ring
Yep.
like clucking and stuff. He actually thought like his gimmick, like, so I'm just gonna assume it was Vince. He was like, "God, you're gonna be a rooster now. Get out there." And he was just like,
Yep.
"Here I go." Like, this is how roosters do.
Terry Taylor.
Terry Taylor. I love that gimmick so much. I thought it was hilarious and so stupid.
He did the best he could.
He did. Like,
he drew the bad gimmick out of the box, didn't
God, how disheartening would it be? Is like you finally get like to the big times, and Vince McMahon is like, "You're a fucking rooster. Now get out there and be a rooster."
Right.
Oh, so sad. I loved it though. It made me laugh.
Get in your
Still
hair
makes
and
me
you
laugh.
go out there and get it over.
I don't get a rooster hawk like going on. Amazing.
All right, well, my number 4. It's not a popular pick. Every time I bring his name up, everybody's like, but I liked him because the gimmick was original. It was kind of fun. I liked it. He was different at the time. I'm gonna see if you guys recognize the theme. Anyone? Anyone?
I'm conducting music class later, and I do not have this one.
Adam Rose.
Oh,
Adam Rose. Yeah.
Okay.
Adam Rose.
No, I did. Leo Kruger.
Leo Kruger. Oh man, it was ridiculous because everybody came out in the costumes. It was a hot
I guess
dog,
the reason I didn't recognize the song because I was always focused on the
Sure.
line. Yeah.
The line.
And then they added. I think that was like more of the original one. It was like they added the "Hey" where he started doing the, with hands across and stuff like that. But anyway, it's ridiculous. It was fun for me. So
I liked how he would get up on the ring and then he would
do
just,
the trust
him
fall.
to fall back. Yeah,
I did like that. I thought that was pretty cool.
Primo number 4.
My number 4 was a moment in time when now R-Truth always makes us laugh. He's hilarious. But my favorite time is my number 4 is R-Truth and Little Jimmy.
R-Truth and Little Jimmy.
He'd be like, he didn't just say that. He didn't just say that.
That was ridiculous, but that was funny though.
It was
That
so
was
funny.
though.
And
That
there's
was great.
one where he's in the ring with Triple H. He's like talking to Little Jimmy, and then Triple H starts talking to his dude. He's like, "What's wrong with you, man? You talking to imaginary people?"
Right. Oh, I kind of forgot about that one, man.
I did too.
That was nice.
R-Truth makes
was
me
nice.
sad because he's so good, but he's so good at being funny.
Yeah.
That's his thing.
He
Like,
made Brock break character.
Yes. He's brilliant, and that's all he gets to do is be funny, which I guess is a good career. But anyways,
All right, AJ, get us started on our top 3. Number 3.
So number 3 is the same class as the Red Rooster. I would consider. Just how unbelievably disappointed would you be if you went back to creative and they're like, well, Paul Diamond, we have this moon gimmick for you where you're going to go out to the ring and you're going to have like a stupid rubber suit on and he had to like hop up the steps with his stupid little farty jetpacks. Maximilian Moon was...
Maximilian Moon.
His gimmick was he was from the moon, and he had a jetpack that was seriously like he would like jump on the steps and be like
right
and press the little buttons. And
you just got to commit and get it and try.
Yeah,
Right?
you gotta go all the way.
Well, yeah, that's hard to predict, man.
oh, it was so. I wish it would have stuck around longer, and I also wish it would like come back and like take up like a surprise spot in a Royal Rumble at some point in time, because I think I would lose my mind if Max Moon came out as like number 22 in a Royal Rumble. Oh, by the way, Conan was originally planned for the gimmick, and then they gave it to. Can you imagine Conan as Maximilian Moon?
Ugh.
That would have been amazing.
Would have.
Right. So yeah, number 3 is Max Moon by Paul Diamond.
All right, for me, let me see if you guys recognize the theme for my number 3.
I mean, I'd say it's the Boogeyman.
I bet it's the Boogeyman. Yeah.
I mean, it was kind of part of the
I
joke.
know.
So,
We're dummies.
He ate the worms. He played
He'd come out.
Boogeyman character out of
Their room would turn red.
Yeah.
He had to get over a guy that basically fictitiously lived in our closets as we growed up, and so that would be
I hear that he's actually a really nice guy.
Yeah,
I heard he was
life.
too. Yeah. So for me, number 3, the Boogeyman. I mean, that's classic, man.
See if you can guess whose music this is. Where's the big show?
Yeah.
So my number 3 is Damien Mizdow.
What? Really?
Yeah.
When he
So Yeah, I enjoyed everything. He would, even when he wasn't wrestling, he'd be on the outside of the ring doing everything that the Miz was doing.
Look what Michael just put.
Rolls and everything.
Yeah,
too.
freaking Undead. You wrote it at the same time that I was saying it. Yeah.
Oh, I did love Mizdow. That was awesome.
Damien Mizdow.
The only problem with that is that he got so over that they had to take it. They had to take it away from him. Which
more over than Miz.
he
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, he always talks about that too. All right, top 2 guys. AJ, get us started. Number 2. This is where it gets fun.
I was actually surprised by that. All of these were from this era of wrestling. Number 2, I think we mentioned a couple of either last episode or a couple of episodes ago, is Barry Darsow, the Repo Man. Because he would be like a sneaky, like he had a thief mask on. It's like
he looked like a Hamburglar without the hat.
And he would break into people's houses and steal their cars. But then he would be like a sneaky thief. He'd be like, me.
Right.
It was
I'm coming to steal your car in the middle of the night.
And he just dressed like a thief, and it's like if you're a Repo Man, you're not a thief. That's like a government job.
I bet he was like, God, I want to be the big boss man again.
Why am I not in Demolition anymore?
Right.
Repo Man. Oh, it was so good, and he had tire tracks on his gear. It's like, what?
Sure
why?
did.
This is so dumb, and I love every second of it. So that's my number 2, Repo Man, Barry Darsow.
For my number 2, let's just imagine that you walk into work one day as a wrestler, right? And you're going to get repackaged, okay? How fun would a gimmick would be where you go to the ring and you bitch out everybody in America for not paying their taxes, and you threaten them that you're going to beat the shit out of them if you don't pay your taxes, and he's going to reap the benefits of everybody in the WWE is going to have to pay for America not paying their fucking taxes, right?
That is so. He was going to be an honorable mention for me.
So for me, number 2, man, it's IRS, Mike Rotunda. That would just be fun to me. I mean, you go out there with a briefcase, you rip on America about taxes, and there's just loads and loads of microphone potential to use. Yes, thank you. You know what I mean? There's so many ways to go with that angle that could be fun. So Mike Rotunda, IRS for me is number 2, man.
I do love IRS. His whole thing.
So good, man.
That's Bo and Bray's daddy.
Yep. Quit crying and pay what's due.
My number 2 of gimmicks that we enjoy was a short-lived one, but it was funny because the original guy was actually funny, and this is Santina Marella, Santino's sister. She yeah. So I like Santino, and I just thought it was hilarious because he pretended so hard to not be Santino.
Yeah. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, it's a secret. It's like a secret between him and the fans.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
it's almost as bad as Mr. America.
The Hulk Hogan.
We all know it's you.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
That's the one thing I liked when Hulk Hogan did it. He would lift up the mask and be like, "Shh." It's no, everyone knows that it's already you.
I got a picture of. I went to SmackDown. And he was doing that gimmick, and I got a picture with him after the show. He was still kind of hanging out, taking pictures. But all right, AJ, let's go. Number 1's all the way around. Start with your top 5. Bring us to 1.
Number 5, the whole Dungeon of Doom. Height of ridiculousness. Number 4, the Red Rooster, who actually was a rooster. Number 3, Maximilian Moon, who was actually from the moon. Number 2, Repo Man. And number 1, who else could it possibly be? What is my Twitter handle? It's the Yeti!
The Yeti!
Who,
WCW. Eric Bischoff's brainchild.
Oh my God. There's so much that's wonderful and horrible about this. First, he lived in a block of ice. Second, Tony Schiavone calls him the Yeti instead of the Yeti.
Right.
Which is iconic now. Number 3, it was a goddamn mummy. Do they not know what a Yeti was? Eric Bischoff was like, no, Yetis, they have, toilet paper wrapped around them, right?
Yeah, it was.
Also, they go out to the ring and they air hump Hulk Hogan. That was his move. He went out to the ring and he was just... That was his thing.
Yeah.
It was so stupid. Which I guess you could include him in the Dungeon of Doom as well. But like I remember seeing that live on Halloween Havoc as a kid, and I have never laughed harder at anything in my entire life. Michael, I'm sure you can back me up on this. Like, up till that point in my life, that's the hardest I've ever laughed. And it was during a wrestling match for the Yeti, which is now my Twitter handle. So thank you, Tony Schiavone.
Good time.
Yeti!
All right, let's get to my number one. Number 5 was the Hurricane. 4, Adam Rose. 3, Boogeyman. 2 was IRS. All right, boys. So this, like, for my number one, I love this, man. I watch it all the time. This wrestler, he didn't have any interest music. Poor fella, he didn't even make it to the ring. In 1993, he debuted with a guy named Sting who was introducing him to the match. But if you don't know what I'm talking about by now, it's a guy named Fred Ottman. He was slated to be the infamous Shockmaster.
You're going to be shocked by the Shock
Master, yeah, and he infamously busted through the wall, very lame-like. His stormtrooper hat that they
is like a bedazzled stormtrooper hat.
It was a bedazzled
fell off. He tried to put it back on. It was a big botched episode, but man, like it was just so funny. Like it's still my favorite because like this is just how wrestling can go bad. A horrible gimmick. Fred ended up being Tugboat.
Yeah, he was Tugboat.
And what was funny too is like Sting. Everybody on the set was laughing. You know, they totally broke kayfabe. They could not hold it back. So that was funny for me. So now my number one is his one appearance, the Shockmaster.
Even Sid Vicious, who generally not like the best sense of humor in the business, right, broke character and was laughing during the Shockmaster. Unbelievable! What a great pick.
Oh, it was funny. What you got, Primo?
We'll go 5-1. 5-1. We have the SHIT superhero in training, Rosie. From there, we have R-Truth with his Little Jimmy gimmick.
Little Jimmy.
Damian Mizdow. Santina Morella at number 2. And my number 1. We're talking ridiculous gimmicks.
Sure,
right?
Sure.
Like, how much more ridiculous can you get than a leprechaun that lives under the ring? It's also happens to be Vince McMahon's bastard son.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's Hornswoggle.
Hornswoggle.
Nice pick.
I totally forgot that Hornswoggle had existed.
Nice job there. Let me throw out a few honorable mentions too. Kizarny was pretty outrageous. How about Glacier?
Oh yeah, Glacier, the
Glacier in the
Sub-Zero ripoff.
Yeah.
Nightmare Factory trainer now.
Yep.
Is he really? Interesting.
Yep. How about Primo's favorite Eugene? Spirit Squad, Isaac Yankem.
How
about we got to say the Gobbledygooker?
Oh yeah, Gobbledygooker. He actually had a match or two, didn't he?
Hector Guerrero.
Yeah,
that's what it was. Yeah,
but as Gobbledygooker.
And then how about like some of the Kiss Demon, the fake Razor, and all the fake Kane, all those guys.
Yeah,
ridiculous gimmicks.
What does everybody want? Head.
What about? I still think Black Rain 6, even Goldust to an extent, is ridiculous.
All right, let's have some fun. Primo's got a new game going on right here. Primo, you want to explain the game here between me and AJ?
All right, boys, we're going to go to music class.
Right.
That's what we're going to call this. We have 5 songs, best of 5. We get 3 out of 5.
No help from Twitch. Everybody in the chat.
Yeah, no help from Twitch, please.
Yes, no help at all. Somebody help me.
It's going to be so easy. I started off this list with super easy songs. So each new song will be, as we progress, each new song will be more popular. However, there will be less time to figure out what it will be. The beginning time starts at 10 seconds, down to 8, 6, 4, and 2 seconds, respectively.
Sneaky.
So by the time we get to the 5th song, it'll be a 2-second song. However, it is a super easy one. Like, if you don't guess it in those 2 seconds, you're going to feel stupid afterwards. Okay.
Well,
So,
That'd be me.
with that being said, if you boys are ready, I will play our first song for 10 seconds. All you have to do is be the first person to shout the superstar.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Let's go.
Yes.
Your 10 seconds starts now.
Randy Rose.
That's it. I can do it once more, but that's up to your discretion.
But why am I drawing? This is why I'm going to be bad at this.
One more, 10 seconds.
Do it.
Ty Dillinger.
John Spears.
10.
Ty Dillinger ain't around anymore.
No, I don't think anybody on my list is around anymore. Actually, these are all not around anymore.
Okay.
Next one. Now we're down to 8 seconds. Good job, AJ.
Woo!
8 seconds.
No way, Jose.
No way, Jose.
Woo, good job, Dirty.
Oh, that was a tie at the best.
6 seconds.
Dude, I like that. No way, Jose.
Are we ready?
Yeah.
Mick Foley.
Dude, love.
Nope. Razor Ramon.
Is it Razor Ramon?
Yeah,
Yep.
they both start out the
He
same.
had
Yeah,
the card.
I did that on purpose. Yeah,
Yeah.
You sneaky son of a bitch.
Razor Ramon. And I knew that once Dirty heard the.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
So-
I had to say Mick because I knew AJ would say Mick.
I was go. Yes.
All right.
4 seconds.
4 seconds. Tajiri.
Let's try this again.
Tajiri.
4 seconds.
Okay.
Not Tajiri. Lord Tensai.
Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
Oh, come on. We should have known that.
Yeah, he heard the arm wave. That's right. Dirty knew what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Last song, you get 2 seconds.
All right.
This will be quick.
Dusty Rhodes.
Boom, baby.
Good
Boom.
job. Wow.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead with it.
I'm just an old man over here winning shit.
There you go. We have Dirty, your winner of music class, with 3 out of 5 there.
You took, I think didn't you get 4 out of 5?
Well, nobody guessed Ricky the Dragon
Oh,
Steamboat,
yeah,
and you
yeah,
got Ty
right.
Dillinger.
Yep.
I need to study up on old music that no one has anymore.
That was fun though, man. I can't wait to do that again. That was really cool. Nice job there.
That was fun.
Maybe next time, loser. All right, let's get to promo school today. I got one for you from 1991. This is Rowdy Roddy Piper. This is from a WWE Superstars card for Madison Square Garden. So you're going to hear the commentator talk about the matches first, and then they'll cut to Rowdy cutting on Ric Flair here. Here we go.
Randy Savage continues to make news despite the fact he has been barred from the ring. Well, the headline news right here in New York City is that Live World Wrestling Federation action returns to Madison Square Garden.
Listen to this
Monday
card.
night, October 28th, beginning at 7:30 p.m. Now, this is just part of the lineup on the way.
1991.
You're going to see the Big Boss Man when he takes on the superstar known to be a master in human torture, Colonel Mustafa.
Colonel Mustafa.
Bret Hart, the new Intercontinental Champion, he will defend the title October 5th at the Nassau Coliseum. If he is successful in defending the belt, he will bring it to Madison Square Garden and put it on the line against the wild and uncontrollable Berserker.
Berserker.
Of Doom, Hawk and Animal, and they will defend the belt against the natural disasters, earthquake and typhoon.
There you go.
In the
Nice.
so-called real champion of the world, Ric Flair,
There you go.
will arrive at Madison Square Garden, and he faces Rowdy Roddy Piper. And before this week's Superstars of Wrestling program, we caught up with Hot Rod, and he had these comments.
Ric Flair, huh? The real World Heavyweight Wrestling Champion. Must be a little tiny itsy world you come from with munchkins in it and dancing hounds that don't bark. Because you've been doing enough barking for them all. See me, I'm real plain and simple and direct. They call me Hot Rod. Everybody knows it. I don't have to say what I am because I've done it. That's the difference between you and me. You talk about it, I do it. Oh, you want to come out in the frilly robes?
Frilly robe.
The frilly robes.
Come out in a kilt. Someone says I'm cute and I bury my fist down their throat. You want to have a party? You want to see how tough you are? Come on down. The water's fine, but it's up to here.
The shockwaves continue to resound throughout the WWF. Now that Ric Flair is among the superstars of the World Wrestling Federation, Roddy Piper plans to make the so-called real champion of the world regret his arrival. They meet head-on Monday night, October 28th at Madison Square Garden. Don't miss your chance to see it all.
So
Miss your chance to see it all in 1991.
does he? Did he always do that breathing thing? I think that's the first time I've ever noticed that.
Well, would he go?
Yeah,
He
like
kind of
that.
always kind of put it in there, especially when he got fired up and he got his head shaking sideways, and that kind of stuff.
I've never noticed that before. Let's
get to some notes in the rest of the show here, boys. Big E just won the title. What are the expectations for Big E here? What are we thinking? Long run, short run? It's got to be. It's got to be important run. I think.
I don't know who he could possibly drop it to anytime soon. So I'm going to say till at least Mania, he'll keep it, and I think it's going to be a great run. Like, they have to give him a good run. They have to. I mean, Raw's been so bad recently, and this is like the first bright spot of Raw, not including RK Bro.
Yeah.
In so long, like, they have to let him run with it. And I don't know what that entails, but I hope it's awesome.
I feel like too, Primo, you might agree with me. I feel how when they put a tag team together, you think, oh, well, they're eventually going to have the blow off and the split up. I feel like New Day's never going to split up.
I hope
they
they
shouldn't.
Stay together.
That would be a mistake.
I can't see any of them ever turning heel again either.
It's almost kind of like Cena going heel at this point between them three. You know what I mean? Like, it's very imperative. It's that level. You know what I'm saying?
So
now, I've never been a big New Day fan, but I understand it though. I get it.
So I'm sitting here thinking to myself that if they can't go heel, because you would think that Xavier and Kofi will keep anyone away from Big E, like any match he's in, they could easily help him retain.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't have two heel, 3-person factions running both SmackDown and Raw. Like, you have the Bloodline.
No. Yeah, that'd be a bit redundant.
So,
why can't you?
I mean, you can, but
it's not good television.
It's not a rule.
I'm always thinking heel side.
I mean, I like the idea, but that's what I would be. I'd just be like, you're mirroring SmackDown at this point.
Yeah.
But I say, where are we at? September,
yeah.
Yeah, Survivor Series, Extreme Rules, Survivor Series,
Rumble. I say he drops it at the Rumble.
Okay. So Jetrark says Randy in 3 months.
3 months would be Survivor Series, I think.
We didn't really see a big babyface chase by him with the title.
That's true. We didn't.
The cash in, so we could still, if he loses it, we can still see that move to turn back up, in the babyface chase. You know what I mean? So that's always a good story. And Big E would be perfect for it. All right, moving over to AEW, guys. The Elite kind of, it feels sort of NWO to me right now at WCW because the big names were all in NWO back in the day. And I feel like the big names, new signings too, are with the Elite. So do you guys get any kind of comparisons like that?
To me, they just feel like the OG Bullet Club. But which some of them, I mean, they're more like the middle Bullet Club because OG would be Finn Balor. They were at the height of the Bullet Club for sure.
Right.
I think, yeah, I could see it. They're definitely a faction that is unstoppable. They truly are the elite.
Sure. Yeah. And they are churning money left and right now, which was going to lead me into my next question with you guys about, you know, we've heard people on the podcast, Levi Cooper said on Monday, AEW's got a big roster. Does having, and we talked about this before, I just kind of want to revisit, does having Impact relationship with them and New Japan, does that kind of help with them being able to sign that many guys, because they can move guys like Christian over to Impact, or maybe Good Brothers, because I mean they only got 2 shows.
Good Brothers technically do belong to Impact.
Sure, they got 2 shows, 3 hours tops, right, for the week. So because Dynamite's 2 hours, Rampage is 1, maybe 1.5. So that's 3 hours roughly a week. You got a big roster to get over.
How long until you think Rampage goes 2 hours?
I say a year before it goes to 2 hours.
Yeah,
but I do think it will help immensely that they can send, or their talent can go elsewhere.
Oh, for sure. I mean, and I like that they promote. They can promote Impact. They can promote an Impact match. They can promote a New Japan match.
Yeah. And they can still take like indie bookings and stuff like that too.
Yeah, they could still show up in Ring of Honor.
If they go ahead.
So I think that they're gonna have enough storyline to go around for all obviously the big guys and the guys they want to push, but it's not like if you're not in a featured storyline at WWE, you're sitting in the back doing nothing. Like they can go to other bookings, they can go to Japan, they can go do things. So I think
basically, go ahead. Sorry, AJ.
I think it'll keep them happier. Like the talent will be happier.
Yeah,
because they'll get to do things still.
That's what I was going to get to was basically, you don't have anything on Dynamite for me for 2 months. All right, well, I'll go over to New Japan for a couple months. I'll be back.
Sure. Let me say this though. All right, if you're talking about if Rampage does go to 2 hours, that means they're probably going to have to do 2 separate touring shows, because we've figured out they shoot Rampage on Wednesdays with Dynamite. So that's 3 hours. So if they go another hour, that's 4 hours of time slot of wrestling they're going to have to record every Wednesday.
Of course we can't.
With a live crowd. So I don't see that happening. So if they go to Rampage longer, I think it's going to be its own separate
show. And we can't
show.
forget about Dark and Elevation.
Yeah, Dark and Elevation.
Yeah. But they can separately, I mean, those are dark matches, so they can separately, shoot those anywhere.
Yeah, that's true, and then just kind of cobble them together.
Yeah, because I mean, every time you go to a wrestling event, there's a couple of matches that they're going, so that they can basically do that anywhere. So it'll be interesting to watch. So but I tell you though, man, when Rampage goes off on Fridays, especially here lately, man, I'm like, man, that was fast. I want another hour.
Yeah, right?
It's real fast.
It's so good right now, though. All right, boys, I want to take this time to thank Coastland Apparel for sponsoring the show today. Go to Coastland Apparel, use promo code BIRDTV for 15% off. Primo, tell us, where can we get the Sit Down Marks podcast?
Well, I will tell you, Dirty Bird, you can get your Sit Down Marks pod merch at tpublic.com/stores. That's STORES/Sit Down Marks.
Here's the baseball tee, by the way. Child's large. Ah!
You can also get all of our previous shows on Twitch, live, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Amazon Prime Music, Audible, and our guys over at SportzWire Online Radio. We are live every Friday at 6:45, right before the Thomas Bryce Show. All right, boys, since Big E won the title, has anybody's favorite champ in wrestling changed? I'm sticking with Omega. No, AJ, no.
Nope, still the same.
Still Roman. Primo's always Roman. Yep. So,
I'm not always Roman, but
been a while.
Right now, I am Roman.
At this moment, you're Roman.
Yeah, right now, yes.
Impress me, wrestlers.
Did you guys see really quick what Kenny Omega said about his #1 rating for PWI?
No.
So they recently, of course, did their top 500, and Kenny Omega was #1, and in a nice little bit of putting over his friends and competitors, I guess. He said that he had a good year, but he doesn't think his year was the best. He thinks that if Will Ospreay didn't get injured, he could have easily been in that number one spot. And Roman Reigns as well could have also easily been in that number one spot. So I thought that was pretty cool. Like Kenny Omega, gets that number one spot and immediately puts over 2 other guys.
I did see something too where he was like, just because they're on another show, another promotion, doesn't mean we hate each other.
Yeah,
right.
I know,
Yeah,
right? Like,
yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. No. Just like us, we don't hate other podcasts.
Yes,
and
we
there's no need to. No,
we just
don't.
know that you're not as good as us.
I hate
That's
every single one.
Just kidding. We just kidding. We love all of you.
and we suck.
I was waiting.
we do like Wrestling Rewind there.
All right, so next week we're going to talk about St. Louis Anarchy is going to be one of the things we're going to talk about because me and AJ are going to the show next Friday night.
Yeah.
So that will be one of the things we talk about. Guys, you got any other notes here before we wrap it up? Anything else, AJ?
No.
Nope. All right.
I just wanted to raise
AJ.
my hand for no reason.
Nope. AJ, you will tell us, though, what is happening next week.
Next
If you
week,
will.
Next week, if I will, is first and foremost our interview with Trevor Outlaw. We just are just silly. He's awesome, and that was a kind of a son of a bitch, but you'll see. You'll see in the interview. Also, next week we will have our Dropkick Discussions. It's our last one next week until
The old drop dick.
the old
We
Dropkick.
got one more after next week. After September, we're done.
That's when we go into Halloween Havoc, right?
Halloween Havoc, yeah. Next week is top
is
5
next
favorite
week?
finishing moves.
Ooh.
And then the very last one is going to be our top 5 favorite big men.
All 5 of my favorite finishing
Big
moves
man.
are whatever Nia Jax is doing right now.
She's your top 5 big men.
Yes, she's also that in the old drop dick discussion.
The clobber.
Sure.
Drop
Well,
doodle
thanks everybody
discussion.
for tuning in today. If you didn't get a chance to listen to our interview with Levi Cooper, also known as former WWE superstar Tucker Knight, tag team partner with Otis in the tag team Heavy Machinery. That interview is coming up right after the pod. I want to thank everybody for tuning in and download and subscribing the Sit Down Mark podcast. We are very appreciative and thank you guys all each week. So with that being said, stay tuned right after this for our interview with Levi Cooper. AJ, take us home.
Da, da. I was going to grab them cakes.
Hey, Marks, thanks for tuning in. That was episode 28. Stay tuned for an encore of our episode 27 interview with Levi Cooper.
I will give you a show like you have never, ever seen before. Why? Because I can.
This is Levi Cooper, and you're listening to the Sit Down Marks with DB, Primo, and AJ.
Welcome, everybody. A very special episode today for you. We got former WWE superstar on the podcast, Levi Cooper, but you know him as Tucker Knight, also known as Big Tucky from Heavy Machinery.
Yeah, guys, we had a great time. There were some great stories told there. You're going to want to hear it. Don't miss out. And you'll find out why he likes waffles more than pancakes. Right, AJ?
Why he is incorrect. We also spend a little bit of time, a surprising amount of time talking about hobos. We talk about hobos like 8 times. Pretty strange. However, fascinating interview coming up right now on Sit Down Mark.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Sit Down Marks podcast, episode number 27. We have an extra special episode here today, boys. I know y'all are excited for this one, man. How fired up are we for Levi Cooper?
No.
So excited.
We just went live. These boys are going crazy right before we went live. But let me introduce our guest here today, man. You know him as Levi Cooper, also a former tag team member of Heavy Machinery from the WWE. Levi, thanks for joining us, man. Appreciate it, brother.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
I've been nerding out all day, and I've been trying to like calm down and be like, all right, it's just Levi Cooper. It's fine.
That's right.
Yeah,
Looking fucking great, by the way. How good does Levi look, everybody? I bet out there in podcast world can't see what we see, but if you're watching right now, you are. Levi's in shape, man. He looks ready to roll.
Absolutely. You look good, man. And thanks for being on the show once again. We really, really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. It's awesome. So awesome. Okay, I'm calm now.
Yeah, let's have some fun, boys.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man. Thanks for taking the time to join us here today, Levi. Let's jump right into it, man. Why wrestling, man? What got you started in this beautiful business that you were in and that we love to watch?
Well, to be truthful, I started with WWE because it was kind of the best opportunity at the time for me. I had just finished college and I had gotten an accounting degree. So, I was in conversations to potentially, wear a suit to work and go explain numbers to people at KPMG or Ernst & Young or something like that.
Sure.
And WWE gave me a chance. I had a tryout so I graduated in May. I had a tryout in June and ultimately got hired in July of 2013 and then started in January of 2014. And so, like I said, I watched it growing up, of course, during the Attitude Era. I was born in 1990. So, 99, 2000, 2001, we were hitting elbow drops and people's elbows, rock bottoms, stunners, and the likes off the couches on the trampolines, what have you. And then when I got into high school, I got pretty serious I knew I wanted to play sports in college. Originally, my main goal was to play Division I football. And so, basically when I got in high school, I kind of stopped doing or watching anything that wasn't about school or sports.
Sure.
So kind of wrestling fell off a little bit for me. And I actually went to a Money in the Bank show. I want to say it was 2011. It might have been 2012. It was a Dolph Ziggler one. It was in Phoenix. I was going to Arizona State at the time, so I went to that.
What are the most popular outcomes of?
Yeah, it was awesome. I remember the place going wild. It was cool.
Yeah, he's holding.
Dolph's a good guy. He's the man.
Yeah.
I love that guy.
Love Dolph.
He's awesome.
One of the best sellers ever. Let's talk about right before that real quick. Arizona State, right, is where Levi Cooper made his wrestling name. So how'd you end up at Arizona State and why Arizona State?
Oh, man, it's kind of a crazy story. So I actually I went to 3 schools. I started at Portland State my true freshman year, and then I went to Cal State Bakersfield for a year, and then ultimately ended up at Arizona State. And basically those first 2 schools both cut their wrestling programs the year when I was there. So it wasn't like I was messing up or anything, just
you were the
bad luck essentially. And
like the whole wrestling program, they're like, all right, we're done with you guys.
Yeah. Bakersfield ended up bringing theirs back, but Portland State's is gone and done still. 2008 was the last season. And I actually wrestled the very last match in Portland State wrestling history at the Pac-10 tournament that year. But
nice.
That's awesome.
That's good to take with you.
Yeah,
you got the program down.
Yeah, that was the last one.
Dope.
The bookend.
Yeah. Bookend.
So, basically when Bakersfield had cut their program, I was just like kind of looking for places to wrestle, and Arizona State got on my radar because basically my heavyweight coach in Bakersfield, his younger brother wrestled for Sunkist Kids, which was out of the Arizona State wrestling room. And he just happened to be in Bakersfield. And he was like, dude, I'm in that room every day. And I'm telling you, like, you're better than all the other heavyweights there. Like, they probably don't have money for you, but like, you can come stay with me. And like, and so, I was very committed I wanted to be a Division I All-American in wrestling. That was like what I wanted to do. I was going to try to find a way to do it. So I packed up what I could in my Passat, drove to Arizona. I still remember to this day, like pulling into town, going to Brandon Halsey's house. He wasn't even there. He told me he would be there, but he wasn't. Somebody dropped off a key to me. So literally the guy that I'm staying with, who I've only met 2 times, isn't there. I'm like staying in this apartment by myself in Arizona, and just like,
like now what?
I'm a
yeah.
sun devil.
I mean, it was a
That's what
freeing
it's like.
feeling to some extent. I mean, obviously at that exact moment, I was kind of like, let's see what happens here. Kind of a roll of the dice. Like, I haven't met anyone I don't know, but within a month, I was like, yeah, I know I'm going to be the starter here. Like, it cost me a lot of money, right? Like, I walked on that first year, paid full out-of-state tuition to Arizona State.
Oh yeah,
not cheap. And,
out of state is.
But I ended up getting a scholarship after that.
Nice.
And having a lot of success. It was well worth it. And yeah, man, it was like, I think it taught me forever to just bet on myself. It made moving out to Florida to try the WWE much easier, I think, mentally, because I was like, well, I've kind of already done this before, in a different domain, but like, I know what it's like to pack up all my stuff, go someplace where I don't know anybody, and try to get it done. Like, I want to go give that a shot.
That's awesome. And you were an All-American too, right? Like
I was.
Arizona State?
Yeah, that first year I was an All-American actually. So yeah.
2011 NCAA championships, you finished 8th.
That's right. Yeah, and that was a great year. So my Anthony Robles was on that team, who's he was a national champion, 125, was born without one of his legs.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then at 157, we had another guy, Bubba Jenkins, was a national champ, and we got 6th to the team. So that was a pretty awesome 3 days. That will forever be in my memory as one of the thrills of my life for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you're a pretty decorated athlete before you even step 1 foot into the performance center, man. So, had that not even came through, you're still a legendary wrestler, man. So, what were you gonna say, AJ?
What? So after that, so you did all this stuff at Arizona State, and then like you said, you went. You're just like, hey, why the fuck not? Let's go to Florida. And so once you got there, what was the performance center like? I mean, and these are things that I've always been so curious about. Yeah. So like you
stepping in day one, what was the feeling?
What's that like?
What did the place smell like?
Ball sacks, nothing but ball sacks.
It was. I mean, it underwent a lot of evolutions, right? So,
sure.
I mean, so from the time that I stepped in to the time when Heavy Machinery went to the main roster and I left, there was only 3 other talent that had been there when I started, right? So there was like over 90% turnover, in that 5-year period that I was there. So that kind of like, just to give you an idea of, what the life cycle is like there and how frequent the landscape changes. I mean, it literally changes on a quarterly basis in terms of the people in the building. So the day one, so I actually had my tryout in Tampa too. So I was the last tryout in Tampa. So I hadn't seen the Performance Center before I moved out to Orlando because, like I said, I try out in the warehouse in Tampa. So obviously I think it's a cool facility. Like I said, the network had not begun yet. So the network started, I think, in February of 2014. So when I first started there, the network wasn't a thing yet.
Sure. Who was coming in with you? Who was the class coming in with you?
Oh, yeah. So Steve Cutler, now, what's his name in
Macklin?
TNA?
Macklin?
Yeah, Steve Macklin.
Macklin.
Thank you. Yep. And Elias Sampson.
Oh, wow.
And also Jody Christopherson. Chris Christopherson's son was coming in for his 2nd time in the Performance Center.
Really, Chris Christopherson's son is around. See, I had no idea that.
I never read that or heard that. That's wild. I know who Chris Christopherson is. You young bucks know.
Yes, I know.
Of course
Chris
we do.
Jody.
Get out of here.
He was an awesome guy. He was a good dude.
Yep, awesome.
He actually teamed with Scott Dawson for a little bit in his first run in NXT.
So there's something I'm also really, really curious about. So I want to know about like the gimmick process in WWE. Like you see documentaries and stuff, but how does it really work? Does like Vince or creative call you into the office and they're like, "Oh, we got this spindle. You're a hobo man now." Like how does that work? How much input do you have on like the gimmicks that you create, or do they literally just like, here's a bindle, you're Hobo Man now?
Yeah.
Like, how does that work?
Or maybe explain where Tucker Knight came from. Like you,
I mean, there's a spectrum, I think it's a spectrum. Like in NXT, it's not the, it's it was hands off in terms of like main roster touching it for basically my entire time there. For maybe my first half of in NXT, the like writings. Okay, so my first year and a half, Dusty was still alive, so he was like the head creative guy in NXT, right, in the Performance Center, and then like Chris Chambers and a couple other guys who wrote TV on the main roster would come down like once a month and see promos, and then they mainly wrote TV with Triple H, so that it wasn't like super connected necessarily, like kind of what people were trying out in the Florida scene, gimmick wise or whatever. Like, there was a little more freedom there, I guess, to, like almost akin to the indie scene of like, it was expected. Okay, so first of all, you're going to wrestle on the Performance Center shows for probably 20 or 30 matches, which is just going to be in front of your like peers, right? Basically. Sure. So that's how you start out first before you get any like Armory matches or small Florida live events. So it's, it's kind of a progression. And yeah, I mean, so, like I said, it changes and like Kevin Owens was the first person I can remember being like brought in, like, okay, we're bringing you in. This is your thing. You're going like this. You're like getting it. And then, and then kind of after that, it was a succession. I would say that was like the turn of when NXT went from being a developmental brand to when them saying like, we need to draw with this brand. And so now they started like bringing in guys that they thought could draw. And that also like made a fundamental shift in terms of kind of homegrown like talent, who hadn't necessarily wrestled or weren't like a big name yet, trying to kind of create a gimmick via the Performance Center. It's pretty difficult if you look at like single stars who, were brought in as not a big name and then created a gimmick and then went to the main roster and were successful. It's not. I mean, there's some females that have had some success, but there hasn't been a lot of males. Tag teams have had much more success, making that transition. Like you have American Alpha, Vaudevillains, us,
Wyatts.
The Wyatts.
Authors of Pain.
AOP. Yeah, there's another one there too.
I'll throw in the Ascension too. I love the Ascension. I feel bad for them.
Yeah. Yep. And FTR too. They were homegrown too.
What do you think about FTR right now? Since you mentioned them hanging out in AEW, they're kind of killing it right now a little bit.
Got a big roster there.
They do. They do have a very big roster.
Yeah. I think they might need another show. But you talked about it real quick, Levi. Just, give us your time working with Dusty, man. What was it? What was that like?
Yeah, Dusty Rhodes, baby. What was he like?
I mean, it was at first very nerve-wracking, right? Like I remember cutting my first promos really of my life. In front of like my peers and Dusty Rhodes and William Regal and like, dude, most difficult environment imaginable. Like very like, I don't know. I can't think of a better word, but like jaded in the sense of just have seen everything. So it's like topping them is infinitely difficult. You have to be amazing in order to get any type of reaction. Those two are just sit there very stoically and you can't read them in any capacity at all. You're like, oh, all right, well, I don't know if that was good or not, but I know it wasn't great because they didn't do anything. So thanks. But I mean, what a creative genius, right? And just like, and that wasn't due to him. That was like the environment. I remember like my initial reaction being, and then, but you just hear the critiques and like, in the way a genius could like just see everything and sort of point out one little thing, and that one little thing would kind of be the catalyst for this larger change. I remember one time when Finn Balor first came in and he was clearly uncomfortable, and like I said, that's a difficult environment, right? So he did the promo once. I think they asked him to do it again. He did it a second time. And then, Dusty went and had a little conversation with him and basically just told him to he was wearing a suit and just told him, just take your jacket off and take your tie off. And if you need to, take your shirt off while you're cutting this promo and just say and do the exact same thing. And dude was like, it was an incredible change.
Oh,
right.
wow.
And
Yeah.
that, and it was, you're like, man, how could someone like, it's so simple, but so like, and so it was kind of those type of things. One thing that I took away from him that I use and say all the time is like, he would say, don't let the truth get in the way of a good story. Right. And
right.
he would often like go on this story, and it would clearly begin as like a real story. And then at some point it would turn to fantasy, and then it would like, and you could never tell. Like, and that was, so he was like teaching a lesson in his own way of like, this is how you kind of like, how you do that to some extent. So
I always felt like Dusty's the kind of guy, and you could probably answer this question, Levi. When he started talking, everybody stopped talking.
Definitely. I mean, he's not mincing his words, but like he would also like, he loved burying people, not burying them, but just like messing with people. You know what I mean? Like,
sure,
just calling people out, or
yeah.
Like, I remember one time I wore a singlet for a promo, and maybe, it was this tight fitting singlet, and I didn't know that there's like a monitor behind you, right? So you zoomed right in on my dick and balls, like right up, and everyone's just laughing, right? And I'm standing there like, I don't know why everyone's laughing. And I turn around and see it, and I'm just like, oh yeah,
there it is.
I cut my promo. I'm just
all its glory.
You guys are killing me, man. Like,
what's like you're trying to cut a promo in front of like legends.
Yeah,
you turn around,
trying to do this serious thing, and everyone started laughing at me. I don't even know.
So did you, going back to when you first started giving those promos? So when you in college or high school, did you take any kind of speech classes? Were you used to public speaking by the time you got to cutting promos?
Yeah, so I mean, I wasn't deep. It took me a while to get comfortable in that environment, but my mom was a speech and debate coach. I did some public speaking. I did some like parliamentary procedure and FFA in high school.
Oh, me too.
Yeah,
cool.
I mean, like, I have an accounting degree, so I took business communication classes as well. And public speaking was never it was something that was always kind of like, yeah, I'll do that. I remember in college, like if we had a team project and it was like no one else wanted to present, I'd be like, all right, well, I'll show up to all the meetings, and like, you guys can do the work and kind of tell me what's up, and I'll like present most of it. And most of the time people were like, yeah, do that. I'm like, all right, no problem. Right. Happily, so I mean, to some degree, I mean, I didn't have any necessarily like, that was it. I had some formal education, I guess, in that extent, and a bit of experience, but that was kind of.
Yeah, do they encourage to, like, after the fact or during the fact, to maybe go out and search out maybe acting classes or stuff like that?
Well, so they brought him in, yeah. So we got to work with Howard Fine, which is like a pretty renowned acting coach in Hollywood or whatever. I guess Will Smith works with him and other guys. I don't know, like. And then he had like a pupil that ended up coming down for like a couple of 10 or 12 week, kind of classes or whatever, and he would have like 10, 12 people a day or something, and he would do like 4 classes a week. For whatever, you would have 1 class per week, and it was method acting, right? So it's like Uta Hagen, before was like the root of Howard Fine's work, I guess, or whatever, right? So these are like, I read pieces of those books, not all of it, because it didn't all apply, and it's like. It's not the most exciting read ever, but it does have a lot of cool information, and it gave me a way more profound respect for, acting and sort of like that process and how you have to go through it. At least what we learned, which is sort of like how to draw on things that you've done in your life or real life, experiences that you have, and so you go through this process called emotional recall, and you kind of like try to take an inventory of moments in your life when you felt a certain type of way. And then when you wanted to, express that type of emotion as a character, you would sort of transfer that particular, the person or the moment onto whatever, whatever moment you're trying to, present or act through. And that was sort of the process of it. So, it was a challenging process, but I enjoyed it.
That's awesome.
So that being said, do you ever take the moment of your own wang being on the TV in front of your face while you're trying to cut a promo? Do you take that moment and use that further in your life?
Ooh, I don't know. That's a little bit of shame and embarrassment, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a rib on another level, man. Start putting a man's
It was a
junk
pretty
on
good
you
one. I
like
mean,
that.
I'm not mad about it. It's funny.
No, it's hilarious. Yeah. All right, so we established that you walked into the Performance Center in 2013, and Heavy Machinery came about in 2016. Man, tell us how it came about.
Yeah, I mean, so originally head coach Matt Bloom put us together, Tensai.
All right.
Yeah.
What was
Bernard, Prince Albert.
Prince Albert.
Prince Albert? There you go. I was like,
Prince Albert, A-Train.
Yeah, A-Train. Yeah, he's got a lot of names.
So he just kind of put you guys together.
He's been the head coach there now for what? 7 years, probably something like that. So
yeah.
So yeah, he put us together. I think Nico had been in the PC for probably maybe 3.5 or 4 months, maybe a little longer than that. He'd been on shows for like 3 months. Him and Patrick Clark, before pre-Velveteen Dream, Patrick Clark were having opening matches, and I was doing some babyface stuff too at the time, and so Coach Bloom was like, I'm gonna try to put you guys together. We actually wrestled as heels the first time, and it was in Ocala, which is like Central Florida, and it was outside actually in like a hotel pavilion or like a hotel tent, canvas one.
Sure.
But it was in August in Florida, so it was like, oh dude. I mean, I remember and it was like a 20-minute match. I remember like before the match even started, giving Otis the sweatiest hug of all time. This is going to be it. And that was our one and only time that we wrestled as heels. It was against TM61.
Oh yeah.
And and then from then on out, we started wrestling as baby faces, and yeah, it was I've said in interviews before, but I'll say again, it was like it became apparent fairly quickly that we had something that was going to work out, or at least that there was something there on like a really fundamental level, because I think for two reasons. We both kind of grew up in small, kind of blue collar, America, if you will. And that was kind of like, our upbringing and our values kind of align with each other in those terms. And then we were both, pretty high level amateur wrestling heavyweights specifically. And that's just kind of like, I don't know, heavyweights are all kind of the same to some extent. So it was like, and we just kind of were like, okay, well, we understand this about each other. We're not going to try to like measure against each other. Or like, I did this, it's just like, all right, bro, like, hey, I love you, you love me. Like, let's go take over the world together.
Yeah.
What's understood doesn't necessarily need to be said. And so, yeah, that was kind of, I think within the first couple months, I think the moment that was like, oh, we were like, this is more than just a tag team was, there was a Hurricane Matthew, and Otis was very scared that he was like, because he was living in an apartment. This is what he was scared of, which is like that he was living in an apartment and in front of it was like a pond, like a lake, you know what I mean? Water drain. Because it rains so much in Florida, there's like little ponds everywhere.
Sure.
And so he thought that it was going to flood. He's like, dude, my apartment's going to flood during this hurricane. Like,
wait, you thought the little pond was going to flood?
Yeah, I'm just like, so I don't know. I'm like, hey, just come over to my house, dude. At the time it was just me and my wife. I had a like 3 bedrooms or 4 bedrooms, something, big, whatever house I just moved into, like not that long ago. I'm like, just come over, dude. Like, we'll drink a bunch of beers. We'll hurricane it up.
We'll ride it out. Yeah.
And so, and I just remember like he came over and had like 20 bags of non-perishable goods from Walmart, like bags of jerky, nuts, like trail mix.
He thought you guys
and just like a giant cooler full of beer, dude, and a bunch of Magnum bottles of wine, right? So
please tell me this is when Steaks and Wakes was born. Please tell me.
Probably, yeah. Honestly, because before the hurricane was coming at night, so we called up Sean Hayes, the strength coach at the PC, and just the two of us and him, we got to work out at like 8 in the morning or 8:30 in the morning. And then we went to the store and got some more beers. And I was like, on the way home, I'm like, I'm drinking beers with you today, dude. Like, every beer you drink, I'm going to drink. I'm like, you're a beer drinker, dude. Nah, I'm going to hang with you.
Oh, yeah.
And boy,
it did turn out
I did, but only because he was like, and I didn't know this till the next morning, but it was like, he'd come over and he'd just check my beer, and if it didn't have some or had some left in it, he would go and he'd pour himself some wine, and then when mine was gone, then he'd bring us 2 more beers, and he'd be like, then he'd finish his beer, he'd check mine, and then he'd go and get some more wine. Dude, he drank like, I don't know, a lot of wine.
That should have been some vignettes right there.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for letting me do that. I appreciate it.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Oh, that's great. All right, but I tried to look up you guys as a tag team, your first victory together. The best I can come up with is you guys beat 2 guys named Mike Marshall and Jonathan Ortegon. Does that ring a bell at all?
That's QT Marshall.
That's QT Marshall. Okay.
Yeah. And the other guy is he's in Dark Order. I can't remember his name.
Okay. But that's what I.
Yeah, that was at UCF. I remember that.
It says TV Victory is what I was.
TV Victory. Yeah, that was like our lone show we had at UCF.
Well, tell us who your favorite guys were to wrestle. Like, who's your favorite tag teams to lock up with?
Oh man. Loved working with Forgotten Sons, which was Steve Cutler and Wesley Blake, now Weston Blake.
Right.
Loved working with Eric Young. Anytime I got to work with him in any capacity. Partner. Loved. Those are probably our favorite 2, I would say.
What was it like working with the Wyatts with Daniel Bryan?
Working with Daniel Bryan and Big Red, that was awesome too. Yeah. I was just thinking of NXT teams. Yeah, them. The Usos were great too, and the New Day. I mean, really anyone on the main roster was amazing to work with. Like, we got to work with the Bar early on. That was cool. Who else?
I love you guys' feud with Officer
Morrison and Miz was fun too. Especially Morrison. Morrison's the man.
Yeah.
I hear he's kind of a goofball, like, backstage. Is that true? Like, he's just always happy and always like.
Yeah. He's like, He always seems like he's loving life,
Who is goofy backstage? Like, who's the 180 from their character? Who's the heel that's actually really funny? I guess what I'm trying to say.
Oh man. I mean, I don't know that he's necessarily that much of a heel, but Randy Orton's pretty funny when he wants to.
That's what I would have guessed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody. I mean, he's usually kind of like he's like in his own area doing his own little thing, like and he's in the locker room, but he's kind of always like in his own just kind of space doing his how most people are. I don't know. Like live events, which we didn't have for a long time there before I left, were like. Live event locker rooms were the time when you really like joked with people, and because everyone kind of like knew the match or was going to just call it out there for the most part or whatever. Sure. TV, like
more loose.
I mean, maybe the first hour or 2 you're getting to chat with people a little bit, but otherwise, if you're doing something, you're just like from 4 o'clock until 10. It's just
like business time and
this. Yeah. I mean, it should be anyways. It's like
Levi, was technically your main roster debut at the Greatest Royal Rumble in Jeddah?
Yes. Yeah, technically it was. Yeah. So I worked a tryout there. It was in Jeddah for like 13 days.
Oh, wow. Yeah. What was that like?
Honestly, pretty cool.
Yeah.
It was, I think like we got probably a special experience. So
oh, for sure. Yeah.
Canyon Seaman, who was head of talent development at the time, he had made contact with a Saudi national who did half his time there and half his time in America. And so he showed us around, and he had like connections and stuff. And really, like, that's the deal there in Saudi Arabia is like everyone getting behind the wall is where all the good stuff happens. So it's just like, I guess so. There's two police. There's like the whatever. It doesn't matter. But the religious police, they don't have any jurisdiction in like private places.
Yeah.
So there's like a beach club we went to that had, it was just like an American beach, right? With like, swimsuits and like regular, it was just kind of a stark contrast from like walking around in public, and seeing very conservatively dressed. I mean, I remember the food being amazing in Saudi Arabia. I remember the greatest Royal Rumble being like one of the longest days of all time. I think we got there at 9:30 in the morning, and we didn't go on until probably midnight or so for the greatest Royal Rumble. So it was a long day.
Yeah. Plus, you're all jet lagged and like.
I was gonna say, what's the time zone over there?
Like
I want to say
14
it
hours,
was like
15 hours. Time zone
it
is
was like, I don't even know. It was, what was it?
I guess
We
doing
were
all the
living on
traveling you did, you don't really, you just travel, you don't look at the time.
We were living on the East Coast. Because like I said, I mean, we were there for like 2 weeks. So I was like talking to my, wife, and I remember it was like when I was going to sleep, she was waking up. So it was like, I want to say it was 9 hours difference from the East Coast.
Okay.
Yeah, wow. 8 or 9.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was like, I mean, it was a different world. I remember we went into the desert and like we did 4-wheel drive Jeeps, and they roasted like whole goats. And we just sat on like pillows on pallets and on rugs in the desert, and there was just rice on the bottom, and then you just picked it off with your hands and went for it. Which
wow.
I mean, I grew up hunting and fishing, so I was like, hey man, I'm all about this.
Yeah,
one of the kids was like, oh dude, you got to eat the eye. I've offered you the eye. It's like a symbol of like,
honor.
I'm like, yeah, brother, no problem. I'll eat the eye. Like, give me that thing.
Give me them eyes.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
It was fatty and delicious. Like, yeah, it was. So I don't know. I like, even though I grew up in a town with like 3,000 people, I really love experiences where I get to just like, I don't know, sit back and just watch and listen and like, like a whole other place, and. Yeah, it was cool.
I would have been like that loser that's like, do you have any barbecue sauce? And then people would be like, okay, you're an idiot. Go eat some Apple Jacks or something.
They would have told you, they would have pointed out to you like in the middle of the desert or something.
It's like, go stay over
there. Yeah.
All right, so Levi, let's talk about heavy machinery here just a little bit more. Anybody that watches wrestling knows you guys didn't get to have the proper blow off after Mandy blew it all up for everybody. So just talk about that real quick, man. How come we didn't get to see a blow off between you guys?
Well, shit. I mean, I wish I knew. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I didn't ever really get a proper answer. I think the way things happen there in general is very week to week, and there's not a lot of like big picture, viewing.
Sure.
So from the best I could, surprise.
Interesting.
What a shocking revelation.
We just watched the product.
Best I could kind of gather, they had me planned to do Raw Underground, and that was like what they wanted me to do when I moved to Raw. But they hadn't blown off the other story with the, we still had to do the court scene and the finish there and stuff. And so then they drug that out. And by the time we got around to doing that, Raw Underground had been scrapped. So then they didn't really have anything for me. And, I wasn't really told any reason why that Monday, I had I had a match on, main event the Monday after I turned with Humberto Carrillo, like a, I don't know, 7-minute. And I didn't even know that I was going to turn right until I'll tell that story in a minute, but basically I wasn't booked until I got a text at 1:00 that day on Sunday that I needed to come to the arena. Right. So it wasn't like that was when I found out I needed to come. I didn't find out about the turn until probably, I don't know, 4:00.
Wow. And taping and taping starts what time? So you find out.
Well, this was a pay-per-view, so it started at 7.
Wow. So they're like, P.S. You're a heel now. Go.
Well, it was, I mean, it wasn't even we had the original plan was different than they wanted me to just not hit him, but kind of look at him, and then they're like, no, he's got to hit him. I don't know. So it was like, my really one regret of my time there was I wish I would have just said no to that. I was like I said, it was so frazzled. And so basically the way that it like went down kind of from the start was I found out on like Wednesday afternoon that I needed to leave Thursday morning so that I could get COVID tested, whatever. Cause I'd been moved to Raw, but then I needed to do SmackDown because we ended up doing the El Gran Gordo thing, Dozer in a mask. So I got basically, right. So I'm not scheduled to fly out until Sunday. I get a text Wednesday afternoon. Hey, we need you to leave Thursday morning. And so then I'm boom, I go, whatever, do the deal. And you have an app. It's got like dots on it if you have a date. So when I did SmackDown, I had a dot for Friday and I had a dot for Monday, but I didn't have a dot for Sunday. So, I'm like, stay up and hang out on Saturday and have some beers with the boys or whatever. And I'm actually like, I'm driving to the golf course at 1:00. I'm going to play golf in Florida. Like, yeah, I'm off on Sunday. I got TV tomorrow. I'm going to go play some golf. And that's when I got a text like, so I had to turn around and go back to anyways. And so I don't know. I kind of feel like it was rushed and like in a sense to sort of like, so I wouldn't ask the right questions. And it was like, I'd never really gone through that experience, and it was just, I just
seemed very swift.
I didn't do enough to protect myself in that instance and really like be like, no, hey, like what the fuck are we doing after this, right? And like, I'm not doing this unless we have a good idea afterwards. Like I'll take that on my chest, saying that like if I ever are confronted with a situation like that again, I'll know better than to like, at least I'm going to make sure that like it makes some semblance of sense. And look, like if you guys are going to fire me, not for nothing, but just have Dozer kick my ass, like at least have him kick my ass. It makes like, it makes less than any sense for there to be nothing, right? It's just like, I mean, okay, supposedly you guys, like you think he's a star and I'm not a star. And that's presumably why things went down the way that they went down, right? With Money in the Bank and from that time forward, whatever, like that was the way I took it anyways. And sort of the way that, what I've kind of pieced together essentially is like, I don't think they appreciated necessarily how much kind of background work that I did for the team and sort of like, I mean, look, Dozer has the charisma in droves, right? Way more than me or a lot of really anyone. I mean, he's a really special human being, and like I'd be the first person to say that. But I also think like my ability to speak and be articulate and kind of like get out the information that's necessary, it really allows him to be himself and not have to worry about, kind of like whatever. So, I think we were a good team and like he was allowed to kind of shine maybe and whatever. So things went down and I mean, to some degree too, I know like this is my best friend at the time and we're traveling all the time. Like I genuinely love this guy and like, I don't want to mess up what he has going on either, genuinely, because it's his dream, right? I mean, I said from the very beginning of this show, hey, like I love doing this and I have infinite respect for pro wrestling and I'll love it forever. But it wasn't like my end all be all dream. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is this, and I respect that. And so I wouldn't want to do something to mess that up for, my best friend either. And I think looking back on it, there was a little bit of that, in kind of the way that whole thing went down too, of like, maybe I didn't push as hard as I would have otherwise pushed because I knew there could be consequences for both of us. And, but like I said, going back to kind of if they wanted to make him a star, it was just, I mean, they had probably, I don't want to be, egotistical and say it was the most over story, but I think the him and Mandy story was at one point in time there, like what we had going on was one of the most invested in storylines.
Without a doubt. Yeah, without a doubt.
And so to just kind of send them on their merry way and sort of have him pretend like in any kind of way somebody like Dozer would pretend like a girl like Manny just never existed and like he wouldn't be sad about it. He would have no feeling about it whatsoever. They would just like, I mean, I think that was just a smack in the face to the audience, and makes them less likely to invest, and it hurts the character because it just makes people less likely to invest in any story that kind of has that whatever any of those pieces because of sort of the bad taste that. I mean, I know it left in my mouth and all of our mouths, and the kind of the way that we put a lot of hard work into that, and we wanted it to have an awesome payoff, and we think it could have. And I mean, shit, you ultimately turned Dozer heel anyways, so like, I mean, I get it. Like, maybe they didn't want anyone to be heel, so that's why they had them kind of just, but, and then, like I said, so then you have his best friend, like after the girl of his dreams goes her merry way, and he has nothing about it. You don't have his character even react to it. And then his best friend hits him over the head with the briefcase, costing his opportunity to be world champion. And then he just pretends like that, that never happened. He's not even going to seek retribution for that. Like,
right. Yeah.
It's erased from memory all of a sudden.
Yeah, then they're just like,
I mean, it's just like, but it's there. It's always, it'll always be a part of it. And it's just like, I mean, I don't know. It's just like, you can't tell me that on a 3-hour episode of Raw, you couldn't have given us 10 minutes. And
yes,
I'm
sure.
part of that show. You'll never convince me of that, But,
right.
Well, they needed to do the 5th recap, before, what happened earlier on Raw.
Yeah, well, it was good to hear your opinion of that, man. We appreciate you telling us.
I mean, like I said, it was lessons learned, right? Lessons learned really as it stands now, and
Yep. All right. Well, I'm gonna kick you to Primo here for. We're gonna ask you some questions outside the ring, and then me and AJ is gonna talk to you about some other stuff here. So, fire away, Primo.
All right, Levi. First of all, I want to say congrats, man, for being a year younger than me and looking like a grown ass man, while I look like a child.
You do look like a child. Yeah.
So,
and he's 5 foot like a child.
I can go back to 25 if I shave this beard, though.
Yeah. Like I said, I was 89, you're 90, and I look like I'm 20. But anyway, first of all, I want to say, nice Millennium Falcon behind you. I see that.
Yeah, I was looking at all your.
He's a gamer. He's a gamer.
Is that your EV Evolution poster behind you too?
Yeah, the wife and I built that during quarantine, during the original quarantine.
That is cool. Yeah. And then I see the 2 arcade machines as well. When we first got on, before the show even started, we were talking football. So what is your favorite football team?
I mean, my favorite, if we're talking about all teams, is the Oregon State Beavers. Grew up going to those games forever. I can remember as like a 3rd or 4th grader having Pee Wee football in the morning and taking a baby wipe shower on the way down to catch kickoff at 12:30, and been going ever since. Literally, just they had an 8 p.m. game on Saturday, and I was there. I didn't go until 2 in the morning, but it was worth it. And taking my daughter this week, so. That's my all-time fave. As a Northwesterner, I root for the Seahawks. But my favorite NFL team is the Vikings. Love the Chris Carter, Randy Moss, Randall Cunningham Vikings.
Solid.
That was just a team I loved watching when I was like kind of in coming of age, and see you with your Cubs stuff on over there or whatever, you know what I mean? But that was they were cool back then, man. So I was like,
they were pretty cool.
Ever since,
they were,
especially Randy Moss.
So besides sports and accounting, what other hobbies do you have that people may not know about?
Oh yeah, well I mentioned golf a little bit, but big golfer. Love golf. Obviously, if you watch TV, I have a golden tee machine behind me. But I also enjoy getting out on the links, if you will, and cursing at the little white ball.
I did that before.
Going Happy Gilmore.
Yes. Yep. Like outdoor activities in general, grew up, like I said, hunting and fishing with my dad. And like this next week, my dad actually just retired like a couple weeks ago. So I'm going to take my daughter. We're going to go clamming we're going to go dig razor clams on Long Beach in Washington.
Oh, that's awesome.
And,
are you back?
I don't know, like earlier this summer, I went out in a national forest and took my family, and we picked huckleberries in the national forest. So
nice.
Really cool.
Just stuff like that, different kind of go hiking. It's the Northwest, so there's a lot of really beautiful nature, and I missed it a lot while I was in Florida. I didn't realize how much I loved hills and stuff until I lived in a place that was completely flat, devoid of geographical features of any kind. And I was like, man, this sucks.
Try living in central Illinois, where both Eric and I are right now.
Oh, yeah. My wife has a bunch of family in where is it? Mattoon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Mattoon.
It's an awful place.
Yeah.
They got,
haven't been
they got a
yet.
nice lake.
I said I'm not coming unless we're going whitetail hunting.
Which you can. There is some whitetail hunting up there.
You mentioned fishing earlier. You like freshwater, saltwater? What do you like to do?
Oh, I'll go for both. Probably have done more ocean fishing than, but have done a decent amount of river fishing too. I remember like my uncle has a hop farm, like hops for beer. Like that's what like small town that I grew up in. That's kind of what what we do is grow hops.
That's
and
cool.
He has a small river that goes through his property called the Puddin River. And it actually, like as I was growing up, smallmouth bass took it over. So we used to have, we'd float it in a canoe or something, and it's super slow and windy, and you could catch like on a good day you could easily catch 30 bass in 3 hours. Just not like massive, but maybe 12, 16 inches, just throw them back, but take a little light rod, and that was probably my favorite. But I don't know, salmon fishing in the ocean's pretty awesome also.
That's cool, man. So real quick, for us dumbass marks out there like me and AJ and DB, what are some do's and don'ts when seeing awesome pro wrestlers like yourself out in public?
Oh, so I would say number one thing, do not go up to people while they're eating. I know that seems very obvious, but I would say that's like, as I know for me, and I've had this discussion with plenty of other people, like that's kind of number one on the list is like, hey, I get it. You're like, and you may lose your opportunity, but try to, wait until we're like leaving the restaurant, or whatever after that, if you can. I mean, that's, I would say, one thing that can be very upsetting. And then mostly just like being respectful of people's personal space, you know what I mean? And just like, hey, would it be okay if I get a picture, and then, or whatever, right? And that just kind of.
No, I hear that, man.
I guess like I would say just kind of like however you would interact with any other human being in the world.
Yeah.
So act like a person.
Yeah.
Act like a person.
Like,
don't act like a complete idiot.
Yeah. Just, I mean, like I said, I understand I have, people who I have profound love for and like will have some level of like, holy shit, dude. It's like Arnold Schwarzenegger, like, I gotta go meet him, or like I got to teach Shaq how to go out of the ring one year at WrestleMania.
That's pretty sick.
I know he's back at WrestleMania, and I'm still like a recruit. I'm like, I got
right.
Shaq.
There's Shaq.
Great, real quick, I'll ask you one more question for the sake of our podcast, and I'll throw you back to AJ. I ask this to every interview that we've ever had, and this is either going to go my way or Dirty Bird's way, but Bruce Lee or Chuck Norris?
We keep a tally here, Levi, so we keep a tally.
Oh, Bruce Lee.
Yes!
Thank you.
Yes!
Yeah.
Thank you. Anyone who says Chuck Norris is incorrect.
Yeah.
I mean, Bruce Lee's legit. Chuck Norris, better showman, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
He's got a way better roundhouse kick for TV.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, he does.
Especially
Bruce
when he's
Lee's
wearing
kicking
cowboy
Chuck
boots.
Norris's ass, though, if we're being honest with each other.
I mean, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Dope.
Chuck Norris.
All right. Well, I appreciate you answering all these stupid questions I had. AJ, what else you got?
So I have a couple of things. Well, one more stupid question. This is another ongoing argument that we have. Pancakes or waffles? Got to ask that question.
Oh, my fuck. That's a hard one because I really flip-flop back and forth. I know that's probably not an acceptable answer. If I gun to my head, I will go waffles.
Another one for the waffles.
I'm surrounded by stupid waffle people.
Because it's like I said, it's
just so much more versatile than the pancake. It's just so much more versatile.
Yeah,
this is all of you.
Pancakes just it's just a hobo cake. Waffles is much more refined.
Yeah, AJ, your peanut butter covered hobo cakes.
I'm never going to order pancakes now in the restaurant without being like, can I have the hobo cakes, please?
Yeah,
and
get the
that's
flapjack hobo cakes, please, sir.
So
you're a peanut butter guy on your pancakes, too.
I am, yes.
Yeah, Cubs fan, peanut butter on the pancakes.
Yeah,
doesn't like the Vikings.
Call him out, yeah.
People do. They
think he's a Midwestern brick.
You're on thin ice, bud.
You're like, all right, I'm done with this. Stupid peanut butter on pancakes. Asking me about hobo gimmicks.
I got drugged to the Midwest, Levi. I'm originally from North Carolina, man. So I can't.
No one come here. This is the worst place ever.
I know. I got drugged here. I know.
So Levi, I wanted to ask you about. Do you have any I don't know, fun botch stories, or when you're in the ring something goes horribly wrong and you have to just scramble to fix it or something? What are your favorites? You're in the ring, everything goes absolutely wrong.
Yeah, so I remember we wrestled at Download Festival in the UK, which was amazing, right? During the music festival, it was
awesome.
Three stages, and then we had 2 5-card shows during the music fest. We got to watch Guns N' Roses play a 3-hour set after we wrestled.
Fucking
it was amazing. It was so the rings are a little different sometimes in the UK or whatever. Obviously, they're not shipping the rings across, right? They have they work with a company there and they get the whatever. So the ropes had been used a while, and they've so the ropes are just it's just regular rope stretched tight, and then they put duct tape over it. So when they want to change the color, they just have a different color duct tape. They tape over it again.
Sure.
So these ropes have been taped over several times, and basically, long story short, we were in the Shine still, and I think we were wrestling the Forgotten Sons, and they double whipped me into the ropes. They had both my arms, and I wasn't able to get the rope with my hand in time. So when I went back into the ropes, I didn't catch it with my, you're supposed to catch it with your hand and hold your elbow over the top of it for this exact reason, because I missed it with my hand and my back was sweaty, and so I slipped straight off of it, and I bounced off the middle rope and then straight up and smashed my face right into the top rope, right into the rope. And it sucked.
Yikes.
And it was I can't remember who it was, came over to me and was like, dude, are you all right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine, whatever. And he was like, you want to do this other spot? I'm like, no, we're in the heat, dude. We're now in the heat. Yeah. So I remember that one being but I mean, it worked. I remember the crowd being like, oh, but so it wasn't those dastardly thing, but it was, we went with it. I remember I was in a match one time with now FTR, and we were in Jacksonville, and Dash at the time, there was some water on the mat, and he went over to pretend he was going to slip, and then he actually slipped. That took a big bump, and that was I remember we laughed about that for a long time. After it being pretty funny. I mean, this wasn't with me, but I was in that Saudi Arabia match we're talking about, and that has the ultimate botch of all time in it, Title Neo botch.
Wait, were you in the ring at that time? Had you come out yet?
I wasn't in the ring. I was out of the ring. I had been eliminated at that point.
Oh yeah. Man,
Big E threw you out, didn't he?
I was in the hallway, but it was I was in whatever room I was in the back had the gorilla feed, not the whatever feed out. And dude, they just kept replaying it. I mean, I know they replayed it on TV a lot.
It was replayed a lot.
They had it on a constant loop.
I was dying.
Dude, you couldn't even catch the match. It was just I
mean, how much shit did he catch after that?
So, I mean, dude, so I don't know how much you know about the way that the ring is constructed, right? But in between the post is a T-bar that sits right in the middle, and it goes down to the ground. And so I mean, and he went almost in the middle. So if he would have been actually in the middle, he would have gotten seriously injured.
Wow.
He would have hit he would have hit right away where the apron is. He would have hit a metal bar that was probably an inch by an inch that went up and down and was it wasn't cemented to the floor, but it was it sat on the ground. It was he would have moved it, but it would it would have been bad. And the rail was there too. So if he would have been maybe half a foot taller up, he could have hit his forehead on the metal railing too. So it was it was very funny, and he got lucky that it was just funny. It would have been the ultimate botch save if he would have crawled under the ring and then popped out the other side.
Or just stayed under the ring for an extended period of time. This is where Titus O'Neil lives now, is under the ring, like a ring hobo. We
Yeah,
talked
the
a lot
whole
about
rest of the
hobos.
BR, he just stays there for the rest of the battle royal, the whole show.
That's where he lives.
All right, Levi, let me talk to you here. Got a couple questions here before we wrap it up, man. So you're on Twitch now. Levi Cooper Live is the Twitch handle. What you playing, man? What are we into? What system you got?
So I got a PS4, the world's worst system to stream on.
It is
what I've discovered, anyways.
Yeah.
It's been a lesson in computer literacy for me, certainly, as I've been neglecting those skills as in my time as a full-time professional wrestler. I learned that. So, I guess it's helped me learn about Streamlabs, OBS a little more, and capture cards and all kinds of stuff. I mean, I'm trying to work on a PS5, but I would say Fortnite is the main game that I play streaming wise. I've been playing a lot of Mario Golf lately.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a pretty awesome game.
Cool. Mario, anything's always good.
Yeah, I mean, so I intended to, and I still am working on doing like yoga and that kind of stuff on my streaming. That was like initially the reason why I wanted to do it, and then it's just been my wife started this new job, and I have a baby coming, and like life has just been wild, whatever. So I want it to be perfect, and I'm a perfectionist, so I haven't gotten off the ground with it yet. But I'm like, I don't know. I'm like still, I guess, what I say, like a little bit questionable about my own practice in yoga, right? I don't feel confident enough necessarily to like take it out to the world, which seems, but like that'd be the truth.
You are doing it with DDP, so that's pretty big right there, right?
Yeah. So I've been working on, just started actually in the last week or two, a certification program with his level 1 certification in DDPY. So
that's so awesome.
Working on that a little bit and hoping to, finish that by November, December, and be able to teach classes in that. And kind of, so basically my grand plan is to create a like kind of a self-care program banner, you know what I mean? It kind of encompasses yoga, other forms of exercise, meditation, nutrition, and really starts out with like drinking water and breathing properly and things that are like, I came to a realization like a year ago that, I was reading a little bit of a book about breathing and stuff, and like, man, like I've been a high level athlete for a long time, and I remember people talking about breathing, but like I don't remember anyone ever like explaining to me this is how you like properly breathe to actually like get your diaphragm breath right, and like how you actually produce nitrous oxide, which can only happen through your nose, and just all of these different like things that are sort of the building blocks of being an athlete, that or just controlling your life in general. Like, your breath is tied to your cardiovascular system in the same way as your heart, but your heart's smooth muscle. You can't control it in any capacity other than, flexing and contracting muscles, but it works on its own. But your lungs, they do work on their own, but you can also control them. And if you learn how to control your breath, like you can learn how to control a lot of physiological processes in your life. You can calm yourself down, you can get yourself revved up, you can do a lot of things. And I think also just like learning how to do that, and just like, especially in the age of social media where you could like distract yourself on your phone any given second that you want to,
right?
The ability to like sit in a chair and breathe for 5 minutes and just sit there and breathe for 5 minutes, like is meditative in and of itself. But like, that's a necessary skill, go sit out in nature and just go stare at a tree for 5 minutes. Like these things I believe are essential to like the spirit of a human being, and is being lost to some extent, or just not as, I think, appreciated as maybe it once was. And I think, there's some simple things that are the key to really having like a healthy being that, are not necessarily super profitable, and that's why they're not discussed all that often. And so it's something that I'm passionate about trying to sort of build around, and is kind of like what I'm going to try to do with my wrestling character moving forward, and sort of like, for a better sense with my life moving forward.
Yeah, that was my next question, man, is, what's next for Levi Cooper? Are we going to see you wrestling anytime soon? What's the plan?
Yeah, so I'm on baby watch anytime now. We're past 36 weeks.
Yes, congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Appreciate that. So um, yeah, I mean, just being on the road when I was, and just kind of like even being in wrestling in college, and sort of just like having the lifestyle of a full-time wrestler, full-time athlete, really like being dedicated to that, not just physically but emotionally and mentally, and like the sort of imbalance that can potentially cause. I've just kind of been figuring those kinds of things out for myself, and really like taking the time, and just spending time with my family now. I mean, I just like said, my wife, she started, and she's in education, and she just got a district office job, and so I've been helping. I'm like, okay, she's taking care of me and the family for a long time when I was on the road wrestling, with my daughter. And so it was like, you have this new job. I want you to be able to, go full fledged in it and not have to worry about anything. And also, I guess financially, when you think about childcare, is very expensive. And so it's like,
Oh yeah.
so I've just been staying home, and I'll stay home through the end of this year. And I just kind of made that commitment a couple months ago to her, just as a, it's what makes sense for our family right now.
Yeah.
And so I've taken some bookings in 2022, and I will take more bookings. And so, I will hit the ground running here in 2022, and do some wrestling. Mainly, I want to just wrestle on the indies for, at least 6 months, probably more like a year, because I feel like I have some creative exploration that I want to do for myself.
Yeah.
And I don't want the pressure of having to have like any kind of polished television product. I want to be able to just try things, fall flat on my face if I need to, and sort of just feel like I have the freedom to do those things, right? I mean, only wrestling I know is inside of WWE's system. And so I want to, before I, wrestle on TV again, I want to just kind of figure out exactly who I am inside of the ring, outside of, heavy machinery. And I feel like, I have an idea, but we got to get reps, right? And so
that's a really cool point of view.
Yeah, well said, man. I'm looking forward to seeing you on the indies, and what you can come up with.
Been doing some jiu-jitsu too, so potentially going to do some like pancreas matches, or something along those lines. Think about kind of like, I mean, I know some people know that pay attention, but I feel like a lot of people that just kind of know me as Tucker and WWE maybe don't know like how legit I actually am, and still am, and can be, and that like it might behoove me to remind the world a little bit, like, yeah, if I need to whoop some ass, I can actually whoop some ass. You wouldn't want to fuck with me, you know what I mean, or whatever.
Right.
Even though I don't portray that on the regular basis, I guess, or whatever. It is, I guess, it's an important factor in terms of trying to, kind of move forward in the professional wrestling business. And I recognize it as such. And so, kind of that's been also kind of beneficial of the time I've been taking to just sort of like, all right, well, if I'm going to build a new wrestler and it's going to be the house, like what am I going to build that? What's that look like? Right. Like, it looks like, okay, well, the foundation is like amateur wrestling, because not only is that like the physical thing that's given me what I have, but it also kind of has given me the mentality that's gotten me to where I am in my life. So it sort of is the foundation of me to some extent, so it has to be, I think, the foundation of my wrestling character. And then I've been toying with this thing called with Levi Cooper, Force of Nature, and sort of like, I guess, like, I know violence, I understand violence in the same way that nature can be extremely violent and volatile. It's also this like really serene and peaceful place that's extremely calm, and like is necessary to be both of those things, right? And to like understand both of those things and be able to kind of move unilaterally between the two of them as a character is something that I think as a basis could be pretty cool, and it's sort of going to be what I explore early on creatively.
Nice. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, Levi, thank you for taking the time out to talk to us here today, man. I could sit and listen to you for hours, man. This has been fun. Thank you for telling us some stories along the way, and we really appreciate you being on today, man.
Yeah, no doubt, man. It's been fun. The hour flew by.
Even though you're wrong about waffles.
No,
Everyone's wrong about
shut
waffles.
up, AJ.
My daughter, hey, if it's worth anything to you, my daughter loves pancakes way more than
Yes.
waffles. So,
Oh yeah,
I got one.
yeah.
Your daughter,
she
Dad.
ultimately decides. So I probably crave waffles because I eat pancakes all the time.
That's fair.
Right,
That's
yeah.
fair.
Probably so. Well, Levi, thank you so much. Go follow
Thanks,
Levi
man.
Cooper. That's real Levi Cooper. And also go follow him on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/Levi Cooper Live. Thank you once again, Levi Cooper, former member of Heavy Machinery WWE Tag Team. We'll hopefully have Levi back here sometime. Thanks for downloading and subscribing to the show here today. I am the Dirty Bird for Primo and AJ. We are the Sit Down Marks, and we will see you next time.